Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fight Night Rising. We are back after a bit of a week off, but excited to get back in here into the action today alongside Boopasaurus. How are you doing tonight?
I'm looking good. That's all I know about today.
You are.
I'm so excited to be back. You were participating in the Mortdog team tournament last week, which is why we took a little bit of a hiatus. We got some members from that tournament coming in today, and we got the hot fix the B patch, not the hot fix coming in. So we might see a little bit of shenaniganery when it comes to team comps, but we shall see once the game starts going. But Khroen, I'm happy to be here too.
Definitely. Always a pleasure to cast alongside you. But these players, it's a really stacked lobby. But first, let's talk about the prizing that they are going to earn here today. It's going to be $100 for first place, second place 50, and third and fourth place $25. Top three will be invited back for next week's competition. But Boop,
These players. Look at this list of I feel like a bouncer at, like, an exclusive club, right? It's like, "Sphinxy? Yep. You're in, come on in. K3 Soju? Yep, come on in." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With Spencer's, TreeBeard, Locodoco, who has all of a sudden come into the TFT world, showing up on that Mortdog Invitational. Rayditz, who's been here since the beginning, has been a while for Fight Night. Really, really excited to see them back. Really great Twitter, by the way, as well. Emily Wang, who is another really great player, along with Doublezzzz, who's been here a couple times as well. I know we say it's a stacked lobby every week, but this one, actually, for real, in terms of where I think the high point can be with this lobby is higher than I think we've ever really, really seen it. So much competitive experience already amongst these teams. So, sometimes we talk about, oh, it's a competition atmosphere. How are they going to do? That's not going to be the case when it comes to this lobby. Everyone's going to be expected to do exactly what they need to do. It's all going to come down to those strategies, who hits and who doesn't, and who will come out on top of Fight Night Rising.
Oh, definitely. That's a great point. All of these players have experience with competition. All of these players are very good at the game. Even Locodoco, who you talked about, just kind of getting into the TFT world, playing like he's been streaming a bunch recently, and he played really, really well in the Mortdog 4v4 tournament last
Mhm.
week. He pulled out some compositions that I was talking about a little bit before the show that people generally don't run as much of nowadays. But with Duelist and with sharpshooters, he piloted very, very well, like getting like first and seconds. And we talked about, with set four fates, like you can win with kind of whatever comp as long as you play it well. You don't need to go just like a couple of comps to be able to get a first place. You can do that just well. And we will start on the perspective of Locodoco here and see how he's going to approach this one. Trying to go for a vest, it seems, like a few other
Mhm.
players. Ends up getting it
One
though.
one of my favorite things about TFT is when you watch streamers, when you watch the players doing it, they're always so deep in thought. You can automatically see like the effort and the brain usage that is required to play a game like this, because it's not about what choice you're making now and how it's going to win in this round too all the time, right? Because some of the choices you make are going to affect 7, 6 rounds later, right? So you have to
Yeah.
be really good at plotting out your course, but understanding that there's going to be forks in the road along the way and adjusting to them. And I think that's where we're going to get the separation once that chosen comes back. Once you hit maybe a Kane, and he doesn't
Yeah.
quite fit into your team comp, what kind of transitions, what kind of opportunities are these players going to create for themselves? And right now, with this Yasuo and these items, it's a pretty good just overall start for Locodoco. These are good items that can combine into a couple good components. But right now, we're just getting through the early game, seeing what the game gives us, and a couple rounds we'll have a lot more information on what these players are running for the end game.
Oh, definitely. And talking about Loco's start here with the Yasuo Chain Vest, I think it's kind of like best in slot start for him in terms of the item and the unit. Loco loves running a lot of duelists, but you don't even need to hit like a Yasuo chosen duelist to go that composition. I've seen him go just for a Jax 3 sort of style, and maybe you can pick up Yasuo 3 eventually, but you don't need it. Is kind of the opinion that a lot of people have. It's like, oh, if you go duelist, okay, you need the 3-star Yasuo, and then you can level up and then grab your other stuff and get the Yon later on. But you don't need to play that way. Callista, very, very good carry for those duelists if you're able to, get that Jack to the front line later on, be rolling for the Callista, and eventually tier 3er, and it's very, very strong. Loco not hitting any more Yasuos, nor duelists, it seems, though. So we'll be scouting around and seeing what people are hitting. Soju actually rolled a Fortune Tom Kench there. Fortune got buffed a little bit.
Not bad right now, to be like
Yeah.
completely honest with you guys, right? It's not like the best comp in the world, right? But if you're able to get your like 6-7 lose streak, put your fortunes in, and then get that jackpot, right? I had a friend the
Yeah.
other day get 5 spatulas in his jackpot, but it is
Oh
and it's
man.
honestly one of the best things in the game. Even in the patch notes, they're like, "We know this is what you want, and it's disgusting," right? For fortune, but it's
Yes.
not bad. I mean, it's kind of like old school pirates. Anything that gives you extra income is going to net you some positives, especially in
Yeah.
the early game. It's all about the fact that when you hit that 6 fortune, there are no other synergies really. So how are you going to use that as a final comp? That's going to be up for Soju to decide if he's going to stick to this fortune. But right now, it's just the 3. He might be able to pick off a win or two early on, but does he even want to win right now?
Yeah, I think if he wanted to win, he would have picked up that triple Yasuo in his shop there and tried to win with that. I mean, you can, if you're fortune win streaking, gain about like I think an average like 3 gold per turn, and be pretty rich from that. But you could go for that 4 loss streak into a win right before Krugs. Actually, I don't remember if they nerfed it yet or they're going to nerf it, but I know you can get like a legendary unit drop like right before Krugs and get like a cane perhaps
Yeah, I remember
on
that on Reddit.
Krug.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's pretty insane. I don't remember if that's nerfed at this point or not, but anyway, Soju going to lose streak and gonna cash in eventually. Gonna go for that big cash in, and Tom Kench Fortune. It's like really good real early because of how strong this Fortune is. Scouting around a little
Mhm.
bit, looking through
And
this lobby.
And for those of you at home who might not have some success at Fortune, what you're seeing now is colloquially known as inting in our community, which is you're going to be losing on purpose, and usually it's for carousel placement, so you can pick first. This time around, though, it's like a duo cause. You're going to get the item that you want, but you might not use that item right away. And the reason why K3 Soju is keeping those items on the bench is he does want to lose, and he doesn't really want to power up his units to potentially ruin this win streak. Tom Kench might be a tad strong, but this Wukong should be enough to take the
Yeah.
rest down and continue this loss streak. So it's really weird, I think, if you come into a game and you're like, you want to lose? You're incentivized to lose, like with Fortune, but the answer is yes. It's all about tanking, and then you pull the trigger, and if you don't win, you get 8th. Right?
Pretty
If you're
much.
able to jackpot, then you're almost guaranteed like a 4th place. You could get a level 2 legendary off of just a fortune payout. So
Yeah.
it's very risky, but honestly, some of the most fun you can have in the game.
Definitely. It is a lot of fun. You get a huge big cash out and eventually went after like 8 loss streak or something like that. And you're like, oh, I have the world now. I can do whatever. But speaking of something that people have, Soju rolled a Vygar there and already has a tier and 2 rods. So I wouldn't be surprised actually if he starts committing to this Vygar. Maybe he grabs a blue buff because he'll probably actually will he lose this round? I don't know. The Vygar is actually gonna do a lot of damage here. Uh-oh.
It's early, right? And I think that's really the best opportunity for Vygar to get some early AP. And with some of the changes coming through, Vygar did get weaker. His, I believe he does a little bit less damage, but K through Soju going to end up winning anyway. Just cash out on his fortune early. Maybe move away from it because this chosen Tom Catch might not be here for a while if we're going the mage direction.
Yeah, maybe sells it on Krugs, maybe after. Not too sure. We'll see how long he really wants to prioritize that for. But it looks like he does want this tier here. He's clicking towards it at least. But he doesn't pick until third.
I
His
have
losses were
so
not large enough.
many things that like I don't do on carousel because I think I'm gonna jinx myself. If
Ooh.
my cursor is anywhere near the thing that I want, it will get taken. So this makes me nervous. You want good energy to come through, and this Viger is going to be helping out. I'm really curious to see if he's going to keep this fortune thing going. He could be. I mean, it's a good early game comp with Annie and Tom Kench. Pretty tanky.
Yeah, no, very tanky. All right, gets the cash out. Okay, gets some
It's
3 costs
9
there.
gold
Yeah.
in units.
9 golden units. I think you got a couple of gold as well off of that. So Soju's gonna be at the okay. I was gonna say he's either gonna be at 30 gold and sells Nunu, or chooses to level and puts in the Nunu. And he's still at 20 gold level 5 right now, which is still like really, really good. at this point in the game because of that fortune cash out. Slams the Ionic Spark on the Tom Kench. Now, that still could go with a mage composition, but it could also transition or pivot into something like a Riven later on, being a very good Ionic Spark holder. And yeah, we see Soju going up against Locodoco once again, and Loco actually found a chosen Duelist Yasuo and slammed the Titan's Resolve there. So, no surprise there looking at Loco and those Duelists.
Hey, you want to get tankier and stronger? Let's slap the
Yep.
Titan's Resolve, which was the first item he got with the bow and the chain vest on his
Mhm.
first 2 rounds. And that is just another way of saying, that is going to affect his Yasuo for the next, until the end of the game. But it's going to really start hitting that power spike around now, right? After this next
Ooh.
creep round, it's going to be a lot stronger. But now we've got the Mage Viger at level 2, only at 2-6. And this is a little twofold here. Yeah, the ultimate is good, but remember, every time he kills a unit, he permanently gains AP. And early on, the units are a lot weaker. So you're going to be able to
Mhm.
potentially farm more AP this way. This is going really well for Soju so far.
Yeah, that's a great point, Boop, because I was surprised. I was like he Nico'd the Vigar there. As soon as he found the pair, he just slaps the Nico down because you're going to gain more AP from doing that, being at the tier 2 there. So Vigar gonna farm it. He's even gonna slap the tier on it now. So this is pretty committal, I think, especially the Nico. Like it's so committal. I wouldn't dare see him pivot out of this at this point. But I mean, Vigar, look at him right now. The Vigar was nerfed, however. Look at the numbers here. The tier 1 Dark Blossom, which is that ulti damage there, got nerfed by 50. And then at tier 2, also by 50, it goes from 500 to 450. And then at tier 2, 650 to 600. And then tier 3 is nerfed by 100, actually goes from 1,000 to 900 damage.
Oof, man, all this extra gold. Who needs
Yeah,
loot streaking, friends?
fortune, man.
When yeah, just when the fortune's gonna give you just that a little extra money to not only pace the rest of the lobby. Yeah, he's not at 100 HP, but the big thing here is that he's going to be able to play his game. I'd love to see TreeBeard though at 100 HP, someone who does tend to start very, very strongly
Yeah.
in these lobbies and is showing that off right now. And one thing about TreeBeard that I've really appreciated through Fight Night Rising is his ability to make decisions at the snap of at the snap of his fingers, right? He's able to adjust and transition pretty easily, and he's going to be looking at 4 Brawler, 3 Elderwood right now. His namesake is on that field. It's that Maokai. What are you thinking items wise? What's our roadmap? What's Google Maps saying about Treebeard right now?
Yeah, so TreeBeard probably would have loved to see a bow there to go Giant Slayer for some hunters, some Ash brawlers there, because you already have the brawlers, you already have the chosen Maokai, you already slammed the QSS, which is a best in slot Ash item. But those drops there from the Krugs gave you another glove and a vest. Vest can go into Sunfire Cape, perhaps. That's probably the best use you'll get out of that in this composition, but no real damage items to slap, but actually ends up slapping down a stone plate there. Ooh, but going up against a Shade chosen Z here from Rayditz. Maybe you're gonna see a Shade player here.
It's so great to see Rayditz right now in this. It's been a while since he's been on Fight Night Rising.
Yeah.
He was actually on my first ever one when we were still in set 2, I
Oh,
believe, or
wow.
even set 1, and was part of like the original kind of like crew of characters here at Fight Night. And it's great to see them back. The
Yeah.
Gargoyle Stoneplate might be the difference between losing a ton of HP and losing not a lot, as Treebeard is going to end
Yeah.
up losing anyway. No longer 100 HP for him, but tier 1 Tom Kench. We know where some of the other ones are, but that stone plate is not really going to show itself off until we finally get that tier 2 Tom Kench, as we seem pretty committed to Brawler right now. Is a lot of people splashing in Fortune.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not only Soji running it, but Treebeard as well. Looking to cash in on that gold. He did lose the last round. He's not looking that strong right now, to be honest. So he might lose a bit more as well, especially up against Soju. With that Vigar, I think the Vigar will just eventually kill everything, especially the low HP numbers on that Jinx in the back. It's gonna get targeted right there and will die from the next Vigar cast.
The only piece of respite that people have against that Viger is the fact that the items aren't amazing
Yeah.
for that Viger. And I'm not 100% sure Soju was going for this anyway, kind of was just gifted to him. And so am always intrigued how players adjust to when that kind of like curveball comes at them. All right, I wasn't initially even thinking about this. He might have been, but
Yeah.
now I have this Viger. Where am I going to go from here? And that's the type of transition we were talking about earlier. As K3 gonna pick up a couple more gold. As
Yeah.
TreeBeard is gonna continue to lose. And again, if you're running Fortune, if you lose, it's always on purpose, right? You don't ever have to admit any faults whatsoever if you lose with Fortune, just so you know.
Definitely. It's all in the plans there. Treebeard stacking up a couple losses. This is at 2 already, and again, he's not strong. So I wonder if he'll get to a spot. Like he has high HP right now. He's 86 HP because he win streaked for all of stage 2. But he might get to a point where he has to take out the fortunes before even cashing in, unless he like gets some really, really good items or faces someone who's super weak. And I mean, Spencer here is looking not the strongest. I mean, has some mages, has the TF being the item holder there. Maybe we'll go TF3 though. Already has a 4th TF on the bench there. Um, yeah, Spencer's weak, but I mean, it's a stone plate Annie, so strong enough to tank that damage.
I remember the last time we were here, we were like, Annie is strong unit.
Yeah.
And then I saw that she was getting buffed, and I was like, stronger unit now. And we're stone plated on Annie. The thing about TFT that I actually really appreciate is I feel like in the first set, they were very adamant about keeping like the original basis of the champion in the set, right? You like, I don't feel like they would have put a tank Annie in the game back then,
Yeah.
right? But now that we're here with Annie being a tank and Ari having a completely different ult, I love that they've kind of cut off the chains and are like, we're gonna make this game as good as we can, and we're not gonna like be held back by the design aspects that are
Yeah.
already in here. We can change some things, and I think we're really seeing the effects of that in this particular set. With a lot of people are saying, okay, it's been a little while since we've got to change. Big patch is coming up, but this is still a really great set. Chosen, like you said, can mean anyone can win. Yes, Aphelios was annoying there for a hot minute, but now with those that B patch nerf, it's a little bit better. So props to more in general. And Sphinx boy here with his traditional Kiki. You will not ever see Sphinx with another little legend. Not enough chonks, by the way. Running a cultist shade right now.
Yeah, slaps the Rage Blade on the Z there, so that is a commit. If I have ever seen one there, probably gonna go for QSS last item on that Z and try to tier 3 it eventually. We'll roll down at the level 7 marks. You still get 35% chance to roll 2 costs at level 7. Look for those Aries as well. Speaking of with the design philosophy of set 4 and how there's units like Annie, making a completely new ultimate with Spirit Bomb for the Ari. That's something that, doesn't have in
Mhm.
Summoner's Rift, but absolutely love it. I think, Ari's being a little frustrated because she's a little strong sometimes, especially last, couple patches ago with the double jewel gauntlet stacking, but even still.
Oh man, double jeweled gauntlet. Oh, man, I have always been a fan of like non-traditional builds in regular League of Legends, and
Yeah.
now I have like an appropriate non-reportable way of doing it here, as this is an individual game. Not all the time though, with that Mort 4v4, which is always such a cool little tournament. Whenever out auto battlers have like 2v2s or something like that, it's always super cool and how it changes the game. And Sphinx really trying to show the rest of the lobby how strong Zed is with his comp right now. 84 HP, 6 games in a row, hasn't lost one since the early rounds, and doesn't have kind of any of the reaching right now. Only 3 cultists, just 2 shade, but that's just the chosen. We shall see how long this is going to be strong for, because eventually, if we're unable to upgrade some of these units, no matter how strong the Zed is, eventually he is going to fall off if he's not going to be able to upgrade him.
Yeah, Sphinx has a lot of gold right now, has a lot of HP, so and has a Nico actually on the bench as well. So I think you will be able to upgrade him eventually, unless some players are denying Zeds or gets really unlucky, which can happen. Interesting. We saw actually the Kindred on the other side of this battle here before from doubles had a Rage Blade and a Hand of Justice. Usually, Rage Blade is only committed for a very specific few champions, Zed being one of them, Aphelios being another, maybe Ashe if you already have a Giant Slayer, but kinda not too many others there. So I'll be curious to see where Doublezz does put that Rage Blade later on into the game. It is kind of low HP, 58 right now, but lower is Rayditz and Emily Wang actually sitting at the bottom here.
The Rage Blade, in my opinion, is by far the biggest trap items for new
Yeah.
players in TFT. The way that that item reads, it sounds amazing, right? Oh, increased attack speed every time you attack, but I mean, I don't know if like the nightmares of set one Rage Blade will come true if I mention that again. But it used to be way better. You used to put it on Viger all the time, and well, it seems to be like a nice like secondary viable item if you're unable to get the other items that you need as like kind of like a consolation prize. It is a little unfortunate. I like the item a lot that it doesn't seem to be that popular on a lot of people, but when it is popular, it does seem to cause some problems. So I think it's actually in a good place right now that only a couple people can use it because of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that assessment there. Looking at Emily here, I mean, she hit the Ash 2 on the roll down, but doesn't have a QSS yet, doesn't have many brawlers yet either, and kind of just putting in whatever units she has. You know, they're not that strong. Like, has an Aphelios 1 in for 4 Hunter buff, but 4 Hunter buff is kind of whatever. It doesn't really provide too much. I would have rather, I think she meant to put in Vigard there for Elderwood. But wasn't able to put that in time. Okay, yeah, is now changing her board again, looking to roll down even more. Finds a Nunu. That's good.
Gets some extra help with that Kindred. Oh, some good hits coming in right now. Already, though, you're seeing the lack of spirits in the game
Yeah.
because of that B patch. Was a little strong. Frontline Ari, though, was cool like the first 5 times I saw it. Uh, still, still moderately cool, but is not going to make your team invincible after casting because you're attacking just so dang fast. Ash, another unit that did get nerfed. The attack speed bonus on I think all the levels did get
Yeah.
nerfed as well. But Ash will always be a strong unit at this point in the game if you have double giantslayer on them, no matter what. So TreeBeard will fall once again, and we must have been the kryptonite to TreeBeard. We go over there at 100 HP, and we check back, and he's at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, looked at his comp, it just wasn't strong after that initial stage. Wanna look at Treebeard probably after this round on 4-5 because I think he's gonna go 8 and roll down at that point. Um, Emily Wang, she has 5 ashes so far. I wonder if it's kind of an overcommit, looking for that ash 3 because she is already kind of low. And while she has stabilized right now, this ash will start to fall off again soon because she spent a lot of gold on level 7, and it will take her a long time to rebuild that econ and go level 8, which you kind of, I mean, need when you're going up against players who've been win streaking for the whole game or been playing fortunes. They're going to go 8, find those canes and stuff that will just delete your ash instantly.
There's a point of no return where when you're going up against a lobby where a couple people are going fortune, you're just gonna be behind economy wise. And
Yeah.
unfortunately for Emily, she's also behind power wise in terms of her power budget with just one real damage healer with that Ash who is nerfed. Old Ash might have been able to handle a couple more units. Maybe she'd be sitting at 50 HP instead of 39. Just like a couple of her other friends as we go over to TreeBeard
Oh, okay.
who
Sub
is in
set.
the set with the sparring gloves. So we got the GA as well. We got a random tier on the board. Might end up making another Hodge for somebody. Very interesting that Kindred is still so popular at the bottom end of the leaderboard. I don't know if you noticed that, but
Yeah.
Emily both and TreeBeard both committing to some Kindred stuff. But right now, TreeBeard, a whole lot of this used to be good, right?
Yeah, for Emily, the Kindred's the hunter buff. For Treebeard, the Kindred is the carry, the item holder, and it's only tier 1s at that. But now, yes, Treebeard does go level 8, is going to roll down. But talk about Emily, she's holding 5 ashes. Treebeard is Brawler, so is looking for Ash, but can't seem to find it, though. Finds a pair of Ezreals even before that happens. This is so unfortunate, actually.
I've never been able to do this, but this is the best example of holding hands at 7th and 8th that I've seen in a very, very long time. Emily has the units Treebeard once, and I believe Treebeard has some units Emily once right now. And because they're kind of taking from the same pool, right, of these available units, because they're not the only ones looking for Elderwood units either. They're just kind of screwing each other over. Mech used to be like that, but this is a very, like what you just said, he's looking for Ash. She's got the Ash, right? That's holding hands in 7th and 8th place. So when you
Yep.
hear that in a cast, that is what we mean.
Yeah, I mean, strong enough for now, but Soju is kind of just econing. He's allowed to take some hits right now because he had such a good early game. Is still at the top in terms of HP right now. And I think it seemed like close to that Vigar 3. I didn't quite see how many he had, but had 4 when we saw him a long time ago. So I expected. I found a decent amount since then. And okay, yeah, he's actually one off of that Vigar 3, is going to go level 8, I presume, and then find the last one. Might still roll on 7 though. Actually not too sure what he's doing here. Has the 6 Elderwood already though, which is pretty huge.
Again, this is one of those interactions that I think can be a little confusing. Both Vigors will be able to get individual buffs with his ultimate, and then they will both come in together once they join up as a tier 3. This Ashe actually might have a little bit of a shot here. Nope, the targeting went to Lulu instead of that
Yeah.
Vigor. Might have actually been pretty interesting if the targeting went to the Vigor instead, but Emily and TreeBeard and Sphinx now all at risk of getting 8th place. If we look at the top of the leaderboard, though, we're used to seeing kind of like a top 4 and a bottom 4 separation. Here, though, really anyone can still win. It just kind of depends again who is going to who are we going to see get their final units, right? The Viger
Yeah.
3, you're seeing the Nunu 3. Were we going to see our first tier 5 or 5 cost tier 2 units, right? That's when the next step will take place in this lobby. And K3 Soju, everyone's looking up at him right now.
Yeah, definitely. That all usually happens in the stage 5. If you haven't gone level 8 already, you're going to go to 8 usually, unless you're rolling, because Soju is one off of, I didn't even realize at first, but he is one off of Nunu as well. So we'll probably keep rolling until he hits those. Um, Ooh, actually doesn't hit the Gunblade, so that's a little unfortunate not be able to get that on the Vigar. That's kind of a staple item on him. And yeah, indeed, Soju is rolling down now. Has 70 gold starting off around to roll with, but needs to hit one more of both of these units. Will he hit?
Will he hit? We're in the batting cage right now, and so far it's been a couple fastballs right across the plate that we didn't quite take a swing at. We definitely need K3 Soju here to hit that Viger 3. With this kind of team composition, you're going to be able to top 4 with what he has right now, in my opinion. But if you really want to compete for that top 2 spot, you've got to get that Viger 3. Nunu 3 is a safe at least 1 execute, right? Based on that HP. So it definitely will help. This double gargoyle
Ooh.
stone play Annie with that Ari in at the back line, along with that Azir, though. What a wombo combo from SpencerZ there. We still have 1 Viger remaining, but whenever you see an Ari ult for a second time, that means that Ari is going to win. And
Yeah.
K3 Soju will not be able to get back to 50 gold.
No, didn't want to sell the Ash with the bow. I think he's going to be looking to place that in later on. Okay, actually, Soju does go to level 8 after all, but had already rolled. I think that's a little bit of a misplay there, I would say. If you're going to just roll on 5-2 anyway, and there's a higher chance to, okay, finds the Vigar. That's really nice. But I was going to say, if he's going to roll anyway at level 8, might as well just save all that gold to have a higher percentage of hitting. Did hit the Vigar, though, so not really punished. Still is one away from Nunu, though.
1 away from Nunu. One of the big things about Nunu that's just really weird, man. Like, do you? I feel so weird when I see him consume a unit. Right? It just like just doesn't. It's like the word moist in an action, right? On the board, in my opinion. We don't really see it. Double cast from that 3-tier Viger. Ooh.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Okay.
no, that's
Okay.
so close.
Second cast on that Ari wins again. As K3 Soju starting to lose. Why don't this is actually something we don't talk about a lot, which is when we see Soju winning, right? He's got the units. It seems like he's going to be really strong, right? But he is sitting at 8 gold, 2 loss streak, 44 HP. I mean, he is in second place, but what happens in terms of like the game and the decisions that he's made to kind of flip flop like that for what feels like so suddenly?
Hmm. 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 Not too sure. I think I don't know. I can't say really. I think that I don't know, something that's worrying for Soju right now, at least, is that Vigar only has 2 items right now. Nunu is not tier 3'd. I think while he seems strong, like a lot is kind of going for him. If he doesn't find a good third item for that Vigar off of either like this carousel or the Nexus minion round coming up, before stage 6, then don't know if he'll be able to keep up with these wins. Does find the win here against Doublezz. Doublezz trying to stabilize as best as he can.
Sorry guys, I was laughing at the Nexus minion thing because of like 3 fight nights ago. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're over at Emily right now. Completed items. I don't think there are any Warlord players, so that banner command will probably sit there for now. As Emily holding on for dear life, all of her units are on K3 Soju's board. Unfortunately, at least though we've got that tier 2 Warwick, we've got the tier 2 Ash, we've got the tier 2 Kindred, but whenever you see kind of like the double unit there, you got 2 Ashes there in the corner. That means I don't quite have something I want. And that's usually a bad sign. Sometimes, like in the last set with double Syndra or double Pike, you can pull it off at the early game. But at this point in the game, I don't really consider it a very good sign, as Emily has seen the Viger 3 already, has decided that it's not going to happen, and passes on that Viger in the shop.
Yeah, doesn't even have a chosen at this point, unfortunately. Looking at this board, it is a little rough. Going for Ash 3, she's 2 off, but has no gold. Is going to just try to Zephyr cheese here, so selling that set. Didn't roll the set 2. See if she's actually able to hit a good Zephyr here and stabilize. 4 losses in a row.
All right, this is make or break
Okay.
for Emily right now. Nice Sand Soldiers at the front line. We've got the Ari in the back line, though. The Quicksilver should help. We got to see how much of this front line we can cut through before we can start giving hope for Emily. And right now, that hope is going away little by little. Spirit Bomb by Spirit Bomb. There's that second Ari ultimate. There's that victories for SpencerZ, who is just destroying this lobby right now in terms of the last 3 rounds. Who's been stalking us on stream. TreeBeard seems to TreeBeard did look like he has lost. We've got a top 5 right now. We've got Doublezz in 5th place, Raptor Kid, who is Locodoco
Yeah.
in that top 4. So Doublezz is someone that we actually haven't seen a ton of on first-person perspective, but we have seen on the other side of the board. Everyone seems to be coming up Doublezz, as that set is scary.
Yeah, so there's another Ash player actually. Maybe they'll all hold hands 6, 7, 8. As oh no, the set gets Zephyred there, and these shades are both tier 3. And Sphinx having a shade at level 3, Zed and Evelyn. It looks like it might be lights out for Doublezz here as well. But placing a bit higher than the Ash Brawler counterparts there at the bottom with Emily and Treebeard. But man, oh, there's actually Soju holding Ashes as well, so that the other players couldn't hit. I was like, "Oh, is he gonna play Ash? I don't think so," but maybe it's just a little bit of a denial there. He is still a little bit, a little bit strong there. Locodoco loses that round, but Loco is also 1 off of Jax and Yasuo.
That Mortdog Invitational giving off some strategies for Soju there. Let's hold that
Yeah,
ass just so someone else can have it. I've always known that would, as we get familiar with the genre, because remember, this game type didn't really exist that in this kind of ubiquity
yeah,
before, but now right, how you work the pool of resources, I think, is like the next step to
definitely.
these players really affecting the game in a min-max type of styles. Locodoco, with this Nexus minion, it's like calling it like it's like, have you ever met a dog named Dog? Or like a cat named Cat? Or like when like a 4-year-old, it's like table, cup,
Yeah, yeah.
Nexus minion. That's what I feel. So
Yeah, I get you. I get what you mean there. It's just like, yeah, that is what it is. It is Nexus Minion,
but,
and
you know,
oh,
there's beauty and simplicity too, Khroen.
true.
So, Locodoco does hit on that Jag 3. What do you think of positioning? We actually don't talk about positioning all that much, but Duelists seem to be one of the kind of big positioners, right? I don't know like the right word there or the appropriate summarizing word to help there, but the Duelist player seems to always be moving around, as we do fit in a Zillion here, who's one of the best 5 costs just to put in.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure about that Callista positioning, and okay, it does get one shot, but that's an Ari. It's gonna one shot things either way. Where is the Ari going? Why did she run on the other side of the board? I've honestly have no idea, but Locodoco takes that round win. Either way, is on sitting on a pair of Yones, a pair of Zillions. Zillion just a really good unit, just throwing it in there. Having the res that to actually go off there is gonna be huge.
Oh,
Especially, ooh, I sold a Zillion to find the Zillion, actually. It
go
really
for it.
wants to find this Yasuo. Like, not having this Yasuo is so bad for Loco here, and actually sells the pair of Yones as well, but also doesn't he really
Desperation.
wants to get top 4.
Yeah, Locodoco does not think he can hit top 4 with his current comp without that Yasuo 3, but we do have Adept Mystic on line, so at least at the beginning of the round, look how slowly the opponents are going to be attacking. That means that Ariel is going to be delayed. Awful Yone ult there,
Oh,
but it's not going to matter as the Ari falls anyway, and the Yasuo 3 might have been a bait. Think about the fact that he didn't really change any of those units and could still have 2 Zillions and 2 Yones available to him right now. At least
man.
it's but I this is it though. Well, in
Oh,
hindsight, he hits it. In hindsight, I would like him to be a little bit more aggressive there, but what he was doing was actually really cool in terms of I think a lot of players have a hard time making a decision sometimes, right?
yeah,
They just look at their board, it just kind of feels like air coming out of their mouth, and it's like, what do I do? Where Locodoco seems to be constantly adjusting, constantly going after what might be that high percentage play, which was trying to hit that Yasuo 3 for him. And it might end up working. So we shall see as he's going to lock that Yone anyway. Sand Soldier going to distract this Yasuo, but going to get
ooh,
into the back line. But Zed just a tiny strong. A couple shades did avoid that B patch, which was a little surprising for me, as Locodoco does finish in
third.
third place there after the tiebreakers, as Rayditz will end up getting fourth. The top 4 on your first one back in a while is pretty good. So it's going to be Sphinx against Soju. Sphinx has been starting very, very strong on the last couple fight nights. It's going to be lobby 3 and 4 when we're going to start talking about him a lot more. But we've got Soju who literally made TreeBeard and Emily 7th and 8th without needing to ever really interact with them.
Yeah,
And now it's going to
contributed a little
be,
bit there.
yeah, Elderwood versus Shade.
Yeah, I think that it comes down to Vanguard targeting, and if it actually, maybe not even, because the set does have a D clause. Even if Vanguard targeting does kind of get lucky and hit the Z when it is not actually invisible from Shade, it's not even going to take that much damage at all. Sphinx does have a strong comp, but I mean, Soju, oh, he actually positions so well here against the Z jumping the back line, so it's going to now start attacking the Sejuani. Yeah, it does. But it might not actually matter after all. We'll see.
Ooh, wee! This actually might end up being moderately close. And oh, this is interesting, actually. Yes, the positioning was good, but it left the Azir alone. And then when the Shurima Shuffle ended up pushing some units away, it kind of, I think,
Yeah.
pushed it into Sphinx's direction. We do get one more go at it, though, for Soju, but Sphinx is looking quite strong. Has had the Z3 for what feels like an eternity.
That he has. Had Evelyn 3 for it feels like eternity as well, and had that RE2 for so long. What's he even rolling for right now? Probably just that Kane 2. Only thing he needs. Soju positioning really well, putting a box around that Vigar. I think this is going to be good. The tanks are in the back there, Nunu and Sejuani. This could be the last fight of game number 1, though.
Sphinx deciding not really to change up a lot. He did just win that last round, putting the onus on Soju to adjust his comp to put himself in reaching distance of possibly taking Sphinx down. And it looks like it's working a little bit better than last time. But that declaw on that new and then eats the Evelyn. Soju is out of here as Sphinx gets our first lobby win, which seems to be a little bit of a pattern right now. Sphinx is doing a very, very good job hitting top 2, top 3 in the first 2 lobbies, but in order for him to win a fight night, he is forever a bridesmaid here, unfortunately. He needs to be able to hit the same kind of mindset in lobbies 3 and 4 as we get our first leaderboard of the day.
Yeah, looking at first leaderboard, actually, Soju honestly, this is a tournament, right? Soju ladder. We all know Soju ladder is a beast, but Soju tournaments honestly like a little bit of a disappointment sometimes. But starting off pretty strong with that second place, hit that Vygar 3. It was not good enough for the for Sphinx and the Shades there though, but that is a good start for sure. Seeing Locodoco as well, those duelists were able to get him into a third place, even though he didn't hit Jax 3 or Yasuo 3 for so long. That's very interesting to me. Loco playing that comp really, really well. I thought he would have lost way earlier. I feel like if I had the board that Loco had, it definitely would have gone like 7th or 8th, but Loco able to play it and position super, super well. So I love that.
Well, you actually bring up something that I've actually experienced a lot of over the last week or so, where I get like 6 tier 3 units, right? I'll play Warlord and then get 7th.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that can happen, in this particular patch. You know, I was looking at some Discords earlier today, and it seems to be happening to a lot of people. You get these quote unquote, top ladder comps, and then you get 7th or 6th, and you have all the right pieces, right? But it's all how you use your chosen, the items that then help gently move you along that leaderboard to try to find a little bit more success with that same kind of comp. And I think another really good example is something like sharpshooters. There are some people out there who play sharpshooters really well,
Hmm.
that play it much better than I think I could ever do. Just understanding the positioning, how the bounces go, building things on Nidalee, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a lot of skill expression in some of the off meta comps that I think Locodoco is done really, really well of expressing.
Definitely, 100% agreed there. Gonna see if he chooses to, favor those, which I think he will. Like he did find a chosen Yasuo last game, so of course, if it's Locodoco finding a chosen Yasuo, you're really gonna go that. Especially, I think Titan's Resolve is actually like a best in slot item on Yasuo, so no doubt in my mind that he would have made that decision every single time. But see if he switches it up at all. Either way, though, Soju got his item of choice in the carousel here, wanted to grab a glove, and was successful in getting that from the initial carousel. Gets a Teemo from a box here. Probably won't keep that for too long, however. But another thing, all the brawler players, all the brawler ashes went 6th, 7th, 8th last game. That's very rare to see, honestly. Even if multiple people are contesting it, usually one does really well, the others just don't hit, and they go 7th, 8th. But none of them going into the top 4 here. Like, what do you make of that, Boo?
I think it's just so you start with a pie, right? You have 8 pieces of a pie,
Yeah,
and Soju got to eat like 6 pieces of that pie, right? Or really, I think this is better. He got to give away 2 pieces of that pie, but he still got to
true.
keep 6 of them, right? So our 8th place friend didn't get any pie, right? And 7th and 8th got their
Yeah.
like 1 slice, while Soju here is literally using his hands, moving the pie into his digestive system. And I think that is a really good metaphor for how holding hands at 8th, must feel, because like you said, a lot of the time you are looking up at someone who has those units, right? And you're
Yeah.
like, why not me?
Feels bad, man, when you're in that position. The fate's kind of like not in your hands. You just get to receive a little bit of that pie, but it's just is what it is. You got to make the most of what you have at that point, and it wasn't enough for those three at the bottom their last game. Something. Oh man,
I must have just really wanted to talk about pie. I
I
don't
guess
know why.
run with it. I think it was a solid analogy. I think it was fine.
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm on the same page with you, Boop. I agree. I
Appreciate it.
agree.
We're pie levels here. McKay Soju now. I wonder what his favorite pie is. He
We'll
strikes me as
see.
like a. Do you think he's like a classic apple guy, or do you think he is like an off like strawberry rhubarb or like sweet potato pie guy?
I Soju, he strikes me as a classic kinda Apple kinda
Yeah,
guy. Could be
yeah, like
completely wrong there, but
maybe a pecan, right? Like out of left field.
ooh,
Anyway, and,
okay.
and all of you guys in chat, what pie is K3 Soju? A lot of people. I was about to say a lot of people sitting at 100 HP. Well, it's because we're in the
Yep,
first round.
we are.
And let's see here. We look like a couple mages. We got the chosen mage. Something that you said, Khroen,
Yeah.
is the one thing about the cultists, especially with TF and Elise, is either chosen works pretty great on them.
Yeah, no, definitely, but taking the mage TF though is really I guess I'll say weird to me from Soja's point of view here, because he's not looking to go TF3 because he had another TF but didn't buy it. He chose to instantly sell, I believe it was the Thresh Vive that he got from a box, but wasn't making econ with that. Is choosing to keep a pair of Garens here and just play the TF, I guess, just to mitigate some losses, but doesn't want a win streak. I think he wants to go full loss streak, knowing that he got that much gold, sell the TF chosen eventually. The thing is, though, having this TF chosen means that you can't hit, like, say, I don't know, an Aphelios chosen or a Zed chosen while you have this on the board there. So kind of limiting some of your options there. Be curious to see what his overall end game plan is, because at least for now, it's going to be the lose streak, it seems.
And the early game is just so interesting. It feels almost like a throwaway at times, but I think what you're really trying to do is you have to make a decision on whether you're gonna try to hit that first carousel with the most HP, right, and win streak for your economy, or are you going to lose streak for first pick, right? I think it's good to kind of choose, but like I think you probably know, Khroen, when do you kind of figure out which way you want to go? Is it even before the first PvP round?
In terms of units or
Well, in
items?
terms of, like, wanting to go for carousel versus
Oh,
going
oh,
for,
got you,
win
got you.
streaking.
Yeah. You just know basically kind of like what your early game power looks like. If you have a good early chosen and you have the gold to, like, say, like, level up, go aggressive level 4, like, that's pretty solid. Wouldn't mind just going for the HP there. But if you have nothing going for you, no items that you want to slam, like, say your items are like tier belt sword, unless you're like really wanting to commit to like a Shojin to go sharpshooter Jinx, which you really I don't think should commit for that early, unless you get one off of a box or something. You just kind of want to chill, be okay with loss streaking, try to make econ if possible. There's a lot of players, but especially I think Aegon is one of the best players. He's not here tonight, but one of the best players to lose streak and then just like pop off, at that level 7 mark, roll it
Mhm.
down and just like stabilize so insanely well. Um, yeah. Soju here, maybe making 20 gold. We'll decide to, but he's losing, but only losing to a couple of units, like 1 or 2 units per time. So while he had 3 losses, he's still at 90 HP. Pretty
Mhm.
solid.
It's not like remember when we used to see Master Yi players hit, like, 30 HP on,
Yeah.
like, the second NPC round? That's not really happening here. I also feel like the games have been lasting longer, just in general, with a lot of our
Hmm.
players making it to later NPC rounds. I think we are getting our 5 seconds off the clock here, um, soon, but maybe it's already happened. Anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't really affect the meta. Emily Wang, right now has the belt.
Yeah.
Was running brawlers last time around. Would you, in this situation, run the same comp you literally got just beefed out of last time? Like, I'd be a little averse to it.
I'd be a little wary of it, but if it's a good look, it's a good look, right? That comp is so strong. I think all the times actually, it even happened a little bit in the 4v4 tournament with some of my teammates. They're kind of like, okay, I played mages, but it didn't really work out. Maybe I just shouldn't go mages. But like, no, like the comp is good. Sometimes you just like low roll a little bit, get unlucky, get contested, whatever. But the comp is like still good. You shouldn't just like fully just like shelve it and not ever be willing to play it at all. You should obviously think about it and know that, okay, that happened for a reason. Why did that happen? Because if you're Emily Wang going for that last game, you're like, okay, it happened because 3.5 people were contesting me, with Soju, having some ashes on the bench as well, but she didn't find that many of the brawlers and have like that good of a front line. But the composition is still good. You can still get easily top 4 with it, if not win the game. If you're able to find like a set 2, find some canes eventually as well. So I would definitely be open for that here.
So we can actually see Emily. The Warlord package is really interesting in the early game. There are a lot of different kinds of Warlords. Of course, there's the Vanguards, but a lot of people seem to be moving over to Sharpshooter recently with the Jinx change.
That Fiora and the Janna there, that's so, I mean, if you
That
wanna
is
win that round, that's so unfortunate.
That is the type of day Emily's been having, unfortunately. Oh, that's such a feels
Yeah.
bad. Anyway, I even forgot I was talking. Oh, the sharpshooter. Since Jinx's third rocket is now officially a spell, you can actually stun a lot more frequently, which is really cool. You can get if you're feeling real crazy, you can go ahead and put that jeweled gauntlet on her. But just like
True.
old Jinx. But
Yeah.
I wonder where this is going to go. That's my favorite thing about Warlord is we're gonna maybe get that 6 Warlord package, or maybe even down to 3 a little bit later. But how are we gonna fill it out? Are we gonna go the sharpshooter way? Are we gonna go a little bit tankier?
Man, it's always so weird for me seeing 6 warlords being run because there's a couple scenarios I think that it can be good to stick with. One is if you're just have like a super high roll early game and you have perfect Katarina items and you can go into that Katarina 3. While she is kind of inconsistent, she can still pop off and be good enough to get you to that level 8, level 9 mark, and get a Kayn as a secondary carry. If you're able to get a warlord spat as well and make somebody like a Kayn a warlord, it can do a lot of work there as well. But if you're not going that route, I don't think going for like a reroll Nidalee works out too often. Obviously, Emily's not going for reroll Nidalee here, but when do you transition out or do you commit to it if you're Emily? I guess that is the question. See what she decides to make of that. I would say pivot out personally. I would say just play this for the early mid game. Pivot out once you get to level 7, level 8, depending on how strong you are, how much HP you have at that point. Sometimes I know rank 1 on the any leaderboards right now, Duo-Q Abuser, someone who we've casted in Fight Night here before, a very strong player and has been playing this patch so well. He goes fast 8 so much of the time, and I mean mainly just plays 20 out of 20 like Dusk Riven, but either way, it just goes to show like you can still play a fast 8 playstyle and pivot into what you want to go at that point.
He is, though, to a little bit of a caveat on Duo-Q Abuser, he's arguably one of the fastest players, on that ladder. Every time he's competed here, whenever he's been able to top 4, it's because he's at 100 HP at like round 4, and then loses the rest of the time. So that's like my one caveat. But I think the core of what you're saying still rings true. The thing about this Warlord package is I think you can get that that decision paralysis that Loco didn't have a little earlier that I was like talking about, that I was really complimentary of, as we do find the vein. So it looks like we are going to hit some sharpshooters, which means that this Nidalee is going to get some items on her. One of the better one cost carries, especially once you get that sharpshooter buff on there, especially since it's not just the auto attacks that bounce, those casts do too.
Yeah, speaking of, actually, it all just clicked for me, like, all of a sudden, talking about, Duo-Q Abuser and looking at Emily's board here. I think Emily's gonna pivot into Dusk Riven later on. You have Sunfire for her, you have Giant Slayer for the Jhin, you're holding the Thresh on the bench is a Dusk, you have the Vayne there as well. I mean, she's a Sharpshooter, but a Dusk unit as well. You have a Nico for a Kayn a lot later on. You already have a tier for blue buff Kayn, probably the single most useful item for a Kayn, probably, besides maybe like Jewel Gauntlet or something if you're going for that route.
Kayn. Cannot wait to see him in those patch notes a little later this
Yeah,
year. Um,
too strong, too
a
strong.
little, a tad strong. However, I don't feel like this is as strong as Jhin was in that last set, during like the Dark Star times.
True. The
But
Dark Star times.
it was the Dark Star times. Look how good this Nidalee is. She actually might be able
Yeah,
to pull this off, if she's going to be able to beat
it's
that cast on that TF. Oh no, just a little. It was the Janna shield. I think the
yeah.
Janna ulted. Janna doesn't ult. That's the second time that's happened to Emily in this lobby.
I
Just to
believe
put that out there. I would be. This is mad respect, because I would
yeah.
probably be sobbing. Like if
Yeah,
I, if I was playing, like this is where I would get up and leave, right? Like, and like take a walk, like refresh myself, right?
Emily
Oh,
Emily looked very animated right there after she lost the round, but then hit Jarvan 2 and Vi 2 the next roll. It's kind of like, oh man, if only I had those before and didn't lose to that stupid Janna, then I'd be win streaking right now and be in a lot better spot, have a lot more gold. Because while Emily's HP is 91, it sucks because her gold generation is going to be like kind of screwed because of losing that streak, and she's only on 30 gold right now. And she's not even going to pick early on the carousel, so like hopefully she'll get a good item pick there, but not guaranteed at all. She's even winning this round, so she'll be picking last.
I mean, the way her night has been going, all of her units will just freeze for some reason, and then fall to their dooms. But I'm happy to see Emily win another time, especially since the 2 losses that she has were honestly like brutal. And
Yeah.
so very, very happy to see. Oh, I recognize that cup. You get that for having an espresso. Anyway, Rayditz now is going to be the one that we are taking a look at right now.
Yeah.
70 HP. This is where Rayditz actually likes to live. Every time I see Rayditz play, even when I see him stream, he really tends to live around that like 6th, 3rd area, and
Yeah.
then makes this like push for first at the end, or gets 5th or 4th. Right? Not really someone I really see get 8th a lot.
That's pretty true. I think unless he's having like a real off day, sometimes he'll like tilt a little bit and go eighths. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think he usually exists around that 6th to 3rd mark. He's not kind of like our, we know he's going to be win streaking early a lot of the times. He's not going to be full lose streaking either. He kind of plays to a little bit of a balance of, choosing what direction he wants to go with also like not fully win or lose streaking either way. Just plays for just enough HP to have enough to go level 8 and find the direction that he or continue along the direction, excuse me, that he wants to go for here. And he's even making little pivots right now to make him just a little bit stronger by going to level 7. Like he has fortune to make that bit of a money, so he could be level 7, 40 gold right now on 3.5, which is really solid. And yeah, chooses to sell that Wukong to make that happen. Slaps the rod there on that Ari, make sure she does a little bit of extra damage there. And I kind of like this from Rayditz here. I think that as long as his pivot later on is good, he's setting himself up to be able to do that.
We are gonna. Oh man, this
Oh, it
Ariel.
was huge.
Okay,
Oh man,
just take that one in, guys. That that one just like if you're Rayditz, feels
it feels
amazing.
good.
If
Yeah,
you are his opponent, you hate the game right now. Unfortunately, until your Ari does the same thing to make it a little bit more even. Yeah, Rayditz playing that really, really well, and those kind of transitions of power, right? That the ability to work with the pool of resources that you have to maximize its potential, seeing through the fact that most of these units are just tier 1, right? Knowing how to make that strong and keeping at like a good amount of HP, because you don't have to have 100 HP right now, right? It would be nice, but it's much worse to be Spencer in this situation at 39 HP
yeah.
before Wolves, right? Than it is to be rated at 70. He has so much more room to work with.
No, he really, really does. A lot of room to work with though is Sphinx as well. 92 HP and has 7 Zeds already. Granted, he's a little behind in bows, but still really strong here. Even goes the Jarvan assassinating that Ari. Raydit's going to take a huge hit there. And that's not what you want to see before a neutral round, losing the streak and not being able to get another Fortune win. Because Rayditz might pivot out of Fortune here. I could see a world where Rayditz does full greed and then level up to 8 at 4-5, maybe. Okay, no, does sell the Annie there, so it's pivoting out of Fortune. And rolling actually on 7 to stabilize here.
Rolling on 7 is hello. Rolling on 7 is usually a little risky in my opinion because you can get bonked at level 7 and then just take
Yeah.
forever to get back up to a good amount of economy. Not only just to get to 50 gold, but to have gold to spend on XP and units, etc. Some people have decided that level 7 is where they want to spend all of their gold. I don't think that's the right play right now. As the Wolves putting a lot of damage on to Rayditz right
Yeah.
now. A little concerning, but we won't know until we hit that PvP round here on 4-1 as we get new chosens as we move over to Sphinx, who once again is running Shade. He knows what he likes, and he likes what he likes, my friends. And so that's what we're seeing again as a Z3 at 4-1 appears
Man.
on the board. No items.
92 HP, 8 win streak, top of the lobby, and hit Z3.
No items too.
The items are unfortunate. That's kind of the only worry here, I suppose. But besides that, he's in a good spot. I actually don't think, unless Sphinx gets really lucky, I don't think from this position he's looking good to first place the lobby, but definitely a top 4, like 100% a top 4 from here, which is pretty good. I mean, Sphinx, we talked about, has a couple of strong games. Just needs to make sure he carries that momentum on, though, the next couple of
It's
games. But
It's
yeah.
after the half that I start getting a little concerned for him. And we know Sphinx is a great player, has been here in this lobby, has probably been here the most.
Hmm.
Um, for
Yeah.
Fight Night, we're very familiar with his play, and it's been really really cool. Kind of reminds me of Gunmay, where we got to see this first little itty bitty TFT player playing it just for fun, coming into an actual professional competitive player and seeing Sphinx grow, right? Because the mental used to be really really hard for him. Still I think is a little bit of a challenge, but has been slowly but surely getting better at it, and I think his results are actually showing that.
Yeah, I think so too, definitely. Sphinx is becoming more and more consistent as time goes on. Even just like seeing him here, I think he's making a lot of really good decisions this game that I like a lot. Even if his items are kind of like not great, he doesn't greed. He used the Nico on the Zed to make sure he's able to get a little bit more power right now to make sure he gets a good placement this game, which I definitely agree with. Going up against Spencer, and I was wondering what Spencer was up to, but we see it's going to be a 6 cultist for the mid game. But, I say mid game, but Spencer only has 10 gold right now on the bench. He's gonna win this round because he rolled all the way down, has a Dusk Spat on the Chosen Jin. But, like, where do you go from there, right? Like, the amount of econ that you need to save back up to go to level 8, and then you're not gonna have as much to roll at that point either if you're Spencer, because Raptors round is still, like, 3 PvP rounds away.
Hmm.
It's just, yeah, a little bit worrying there. Yeah, imagine if Sphinx at least then was a Kayn there. Oh, that'd be disgusting, but
I don't want to talk about that. The other thing that people don't really recognize, right, is when you bonk your economy to try to level first, right? It's about access. You unlock the next tier of rewards a little bit earlier. So if you're stuck on level 7 while everyone else is getting to 8, right, they're gonna just take the pool apart before you're even
yeah.
there, right? When they're getting all of these legendary units because they're level 8 and 9, and you have to be lucky and hit with that 1%, right? Eventually, the pickings are going to be slim. You're going to have to be even luckier once you get there, and that's why the balance of when do I level aggressively, when do I kind of hold back and spend all my money, is so very important. It's not just about the extra unit; it's also about that access.
Oh no, definitely. Sphinx actually getting a little close in that fight there. TreeBeard with the Duelist, kind of taking a page out of Locodoco's book there. Has the Yasuo 3, is 3 Jaxes off Jax 3. I think the Yasuo items like aren't amazing, but they're, good enough to take a large chunk out of Sphinx's army there, and Sphinx is really strong right now.
Amazing,
Oh,
not
where's the cane?
amazing, but good enough. It should
Yeah.
be written on me. That should be my mantra for the entirety of a time. My mom says that to me all the time. Anyway, we're we're looking at Sphinx again. He wants that cane. Having 4 shades is a huge
Yeah.
power spike. If you guys are confused on what shade is Vayne in kind of like an origin and class, right? So set 3 Vayne, every time they tumbled, they'd stealth and lose aggro. So they ended up putting that an entire class here with Shades. So that's the Evelyn that you saw him pick up. That's the Kayn. That's the Zed. So usually when you see Shade players, you'll notice that the units move really weird. Because of the loss of aggro, but that's part of why this is so good and probably going to be a little difficult to balance. But Shade is in a strong spot. And like you said, Sphinx, I think just on the basis of that Z3 has solidified his place in the top 4. Now Sphinx can start really transitioning his thinking into that top 1 or 2.
Yeah, hits the Evelyn 3. Another Evelyn 3 actually really early on. Gets the Ari from the carousel there, even being last pick. So just needs to find, I believe it's that Teemo, before the 4 Spirit buff is online. But even still, man, these carries though, gonna slap. Zed has the GA, so won't get one shot by an Ari here. Okay, gonna be a little too much to get through from
Hmm.
Soju's composition there, but still looking good for now. Still 74 HP, sitting near the top of the lobby. Actually, still the
And
top of the lobby.
later on, right, that the positioning with the Ari is actually going to be really, really interesting for someone like Sphinx because while playing Shades actually separates the board and makes those Ari, one hit kills less likely, right? You have to do something to that Ari, or else you're going to see her ult 2 or 3 times with the shades on the board if the targeting isn't there for you. So Sphinx is going to move the boss into the game,
Yeah.
and we're going to see some body slams now for it. Sphinx. This board just keeps getting stronger and stronger. Love the QSS on the Ari, by the way.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. You just need Ari to get one cast off, and that's really all you need. As long as she doesn't get disabled, you have the QSS, and then she can still cast from the G animation, as we see here. It's gonna buff the attack speed of Zed so much, and he's just gonna be able to clean everything up. It's interesting for me to see Sphinx is rolling pretty aggressively here. Um, well, no, I guess not aggressively, but still is rolling in level 7 as opposed to saving money to go level 8. Because level 8 is where you're going to find the Kayn, and Kayn's going to be your kind of insurance policy, I suppose, when you get later on into the game. And, Kayn is Kayn, obviously. Um, and because the Z items aren't amazing, the Z is going to fall off eventually. But still preserving HP there. Just would have liked to see him go 8, I think, a little bit sooner.
That seems to be a common theme with you, Khroen. It seems like you like the fast 8.
I mean, it's not even like a fast 8 though. Like it's still like a slow 8, but he's still continuing to roll rather than setting himself up for a level 8 after the
Mm.
Raptors there. Like the rolls actually didn't I don't think like did too much after he hit like the Z3 and the Evelyn 3. I didn't really see too much of a point after he found the Teemo rather. That after he found the Four
Ooh.
Spirits. Like he found a set there, I guess, but set 1's not going to do too much. Ooh, Locodoco. Really low HP, 14 here. Finds a cane. His board, I don't know. His board's look kind of sus here. It's just like, eh.
That's so funny. I didn't expect that reference. But anyway, yeah, Locodoco in a precarious spot. Literally
Sells
gets a
Ari.
tier 2 Ari and then sells it to see. This is what I like, though. I want to see more players do this, even if you might assume that some of these reactions are incorrect. But he decided Ari is not really going to be my win condition right now. My win condition is Viger, so I am going to invest into this Viger, get a little bit more money with this Ari, hit that econ at 10, and I'm going to be able to survive another round and hopefully get some more power now that I've got these 2 canes on my bench.
Yeah, I mean, even if you find the cane upgrade, the cane's not upgraded yet. Hasn't participated in enough battles to get that either blue or red cane upgrade. Like, what is he hitting here? He has the brawlers with 6 Elderwood Vigar carry, but I struggle to think that's a world where it's enough here to really do too much. Maybe he wins a couple of rounds, but I think Loco's looking like in 8th place here.
Oh no, Loco. This is what a polarizing day so far for
Yeah.
Locodoco. Had a great first lobby in terms of first lobby. At least for me, I'd love to win it, but I just don't want to finish in 7th or 8th, right? Especially on my first week. But Locodoco actually coming back right now finds another player who is weaker than him at this current moment. It's so funny because we saw Soju destroy Sphinx
Yeah.
not too long ago, but Loco is going to end up taking down uh, Soju on the other side. This is pretty beefy comp.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think that that's like the one matchup that he, was praying for. They need to run into because some other members are or some other players are going to be a lot stronger than Soju. We saw Soju have 50 gold there, so he's probably either just greeding out to roll down a bunch of gold, slow roll it on 50, or is going to be going to that level 9 that we don't usually see this early though. But Soju did have a really good early game. Locodoco though could be his last round of this game.
All right, we're praying to the Mort God right now. If you're Locodoco, looking up at Sphinx, this is a 1st versus 8th place matchup. And Locodoco might lose his life on this one. That Evelyn is already playing tag with that Viger. There's this ult against that Evelyn might not even work for him, but there's so many other units that the Evelyn actually got trapped up, didn't attack that Viger for so long, and is able to take Sphinx down. 5 HP is going to be enough for now.
Ooh. Spencer taking a couple rounds in a row of big hits and actually is the one to go 8th. So Locodoco kind of got saved a little bit there. Is just going to take the set RFC there for a set 2. And Loco's looking a little stressed out right now, but at least can breathe the sigh of relief that he didn't go 8th.
Didn't go top 8, my friends, and Locodoco actually doing a pretty good, I would say. If we've seen a lot of new players come in here, but it's been cool. Like Loco comes in with like a nice little energy of intent, right? And I've been really digging it so far. A lot more Viger, a lot more mages than we were used to seeing at Fight Night. The 2-week break, a lot obviously some things must have happened, but right now a lot
Yeah.
of Viger on the board, even with those nerfs. I don't know if Lilia 2 is Lilia 2 really gonna change a lot. Maybe putting some of those shade units to sleep to burst them up before they burst you could be
Yeah.
really beneficial. But how does Loco get stronger?
I mean, that's kinda only thing he has going for him. He did choose intentionally to take the set 2 over a Gunblade for the Vigar, so it isn't even full on the Vigar train. It's just like Vigar is gonna be a little bit of supplementary damage, but the set with the Death Cap, the Titans, and now the RFC is going to need to do work. But Double Zephyr on the front line here from Doublezz. Doublezz looking pretty strong this game here. Is this enough to take out Loco?
We shall see. Is the prophecy going to be friendly for our
Oh,
friend Locodoco? They're getting closer and closer to that Viger, and with the Sejuani ult, it's looking pretty bad right now. However, this is a set 2 with a Rabadon's death cap. Is he going to even be able to hit the ground? Does end up hitting a couple people, but that Yuumi is going to save their lives as Locodoco ends up getting 7th place, following, I think, a 4th place finish on that last lobby. Unfortunate for Locodoco there. We're back to Emily, who has had the most frustrating TFT I have seen someone have in a very long time. But she's still around. We're in 6th place right now, so all that bad luck cannot appear here and now. The Elderwoods have been has almost been a curse for this lobby so far. Not a lot of success from our Elderwood players, and Emily might continue that pattern.
Emily is on a 9-loss streak right now, and it might be 10 here, going up against the Shades with a Sphinx here. There is 6 Elderwood. The Ashe actually in a pretty good spot. The Trap Claw, I think, sending out the Ari. So,
Uh-oh.
all right, 9-loss streak turned into a 1-win streak. Emily, let's go. All right, feels good.
Is it the run back? Is the rally cap on right now? If you
Ooh,
got your rally cap, let's go and put them on
this,
for Emily right now, because this lobby is close. When 2nd place is 22, that's 2 losses at
yeah,
this point in time. So
could
it's
be 1 next round if you lose hard enough, because base damage in stage 6, I believe, is 10, and if you lose to 6 units, might be 7 units, then you do get one shot from that point.
I don't know how many Aries are on the board to maybe contribute to something like that. But Ez2, I think, is going to be the one that helps the most here, especially with the Jeweled Gauntlet and the Mage's Cap. So we're going to potentially see 2 Ezreal ultimates. Maybe we sneak in a Dazzler if we ever hit 9, but we don't have that time. But Doublezz at 44 HP, pretty much solidifying a top 3 finish if he
Yeah.
wins 1 round. So now it's all about Soju, Emily, Sphinx, Rayditz, and to a lesser extent TreeBeard. These are all going to be duels to the death.
They will be. Emily trying to decide what small improvements to make to this composition here. Has the Azir on the bench, but can't really play it. Is just choosing to keep what she has on board in right now. Reposition a little bit. Last Whisper, I mean, it's not really going to be that great to
Sure.
anybody. Oh man, going against TreeBeard here. TreeBeard looks so strong though.
TreeBeard has that Callista in the backline, along with that Yasuo 3, who is slicing and dicing. Big Ezreal ultimates, though, clearing up that front line, giving Emily a little bit of a chance to stay in this game, and that set ult actually going to be doing even more. And Emily wins another round and actually almost knocks out TreeBeard 4 HP. It's funny, I said that last round would be duels to the death, but only 1 falls. That's going to be Soju finishing in 6th place. We've got our top 5, 26 HP at the top, just 4 at the bottom.
Not even a top 4 yet though, but Soju does go out in 6. Soju started off really well in the early game, but that Ari, I think he was running Mystic Vanguards, then Ari just wasn't able to do enough there. But Doublezz did lose last round, is 26 HP. Rayditz and everyone else below is 17 or below. Emily rolling down a little bit more here. Isn't going to be able to hit anything else, though, and goes up against Doublezz with a Cane 2 and a Dusk Cane 2 at that.
Dusk Cane.
Oh,
2.
look at its damage.
Oh, God.
As soon as the ulti comes through, yeah. All right, that is lights. I was just laughing. Just like, what can I do against the Cane 2 there? That guy is so stupidly strong. It's just, Doublezz playing this game so well. Doublezz still has double Nico on the bench there. Didn't even need to use them yet, and secures that top 3 finish. Rayditz barely falling there in 4th, -1 HP. TreeBeard, though, man, TreeBeard's looking a little low early on, but manages to scrape in another top 3. Sphinx, though, as well, finds his way back here.
Sphinx
Oh,
in the
Riven
top 3.
3.
Once again, I don't think we've ever seen a Ribbon 3.
Yeah, maybe we've only cast like a couple weeks of set 4.
Mm-hmm.
Riven
Riven
3.
3. I'm excited to see how
Oh man,
that looks, because whenever
all
you
these
get like
comps are so
your
strong.
yeah, whenever you get your tier 3, 4 and 5 cost units, things start to really happen. Let's see how big the shield is. Enormous, especially with a gunblade every single time she casts. I would be surprised to see that shield dissipate at all.
Oh yeah, this Riven with the Cane as well. Cane 2 with these items, like that's not losing. Sphinx gets eliminated there. TreeBeard actually, I wonder if TreeBeard did get Sphinx as Ghost or Double as Ghost. I would not think it was Double as Ghost because I don't think TreeBeard's comp can defeat this. But even still, like 3 Adept, 2 Exile, like 7 Duelists. This is strong.
Yeah. It's pretty strong. It's it's a little bit of everything, right? It's got your salt, it's got your pepper, it's got, you know, your spice and everything nice, a little bit of soy sauce, maybe even a little bit of sugar. But right now, right, it's all about one person. It's Doublezz at the top. So you need to start making adjustments. You're no longer facing a lobby, you're facing one other person. So when it comes to positioning, when it comes to itemization, when it comes to targeting, things all of a sudden become much more important. Because the thing about TreeBeard is he's been so successful in Fight Night, but he seems to always sneak in to these top 3 places like he did in this lobby. Will this Jax and this Yasuo be able to go up against this game? Or this Riven?
Oh, Riven actually might fall here.
Get
Okay.
CC'd. Okay, so all you need to do is CC that
Oh,
Riven, and it doesn't matter if that's a Riven 3. This Jax, though, is going to be absolutely enormous. Remember, it is now got
wow.
true damage going, and with that Giant Slayer, along with the extra damage with that Yone, Doublezz actually falls. Who knew that Jax could be that guy for you? Learning a lot today, but really, it was the Giant Slayer Bloodthirster combo that seemed to really push him over the edge there. That little bit of lifesteal with that true damage, that was enough.
Okay, Doubles gets the Kane upgrade here. That's going to be huge for him. I was actually surprised to see TreeBeard take that last victory, but I think what Doubles has to do is Zephyr this Jax. He didn't Zephyr the Jax last time. A good swap from TreeBeard meant that he kept that. Oh, okay. Is doing little last minute swaps here. Okay. Is this enough though? It's looking like the Jax will get Zephyred. Is that the difference?
The Jax needs to get Zephyred. If there is going to be any hope, I think, just based off of how that Jax literally 1v6'd, 1v7'd that last
This
round. And as
Kane.
things get even closer, this Kane finally gets that ultimate off, and there is no Jax remaining. The Zephyr was the answer.
Yeah, that wasn't even
TreeBeard will
close
fall
that
in
time.
second place. Yeah, Doublezz ends up winning it out. Gifted, you know, a nice little round of exhilaration because of that Jax. But very curious. This seems to be a close lobby in terms of standings. I think Sphinx will probably be in our top 2, but everyone else, I think, could really be anywhere. Seems like this lobby, like we said earlier, it's not just stacked in terms of high level of play. It's stacked in terms of just the players.
Oh yeah,
Right?
definitely.
Like everyone seems to be at a pretty similar level.
Yeah, and taking a look at these scores right now, Sphinx leading by a pretty solid margin though. Got a first and then a third, has 17 points. And in second place there, Doubles did get the victory there. Doubles making a pretty big statement with that game. Isn't 13 points in second, but very, very close behind is Rayditz, Soju. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fight Night Rising. Got cut a little short before the break there because of some technical difficulties, but we are back online and ready to get into games 3 and 4. Boop. We have had a couple of wonderful games so far,
Yeah.
seen a lot of different compositions, some working out a little better than others. Saw that Riven 3 last game and that Kane 2. I know, oh man, talking to you, I know you love Kane as a unit, clearly, Boop. We saw it be so dominant there. You're excited.
You know, Kane's just one of those units, right? That when you're controlling him, it's like the best, right? You got like this big, like juicy sandwich of damage, right? Or pie. Let's keep with the pie stuff. And he spins to win, right? And then he keeps spinning. And then and then all of a sudden you like wake up and you're dead, right? It's like a hypnosis thing with that with that reaping slash. But yeah, it's also along with the shade thing with him is that he's
Yeah.
going to be able to he has ingrained defensive ability just by attacking, right? And so if your positioning is good, you're going to be able to get that Kane into position to do its job. And again, Kane is a carry, right? And I think should always feel like one. I just a little bit too much is what it feels like right now. But we'll see when that patch comes. The team I think has been doing a very good job
Oh
lately
yeah.
on a lot of the adjustments. So I am pretty confident that whatever changes happen because the other thing that you have to think about too is it's not always about nerfing somebody. You can always buff some people up, right? Like some games feel like everybody is overpowered and that's why it's
Yeah.
balanced,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know how I feel about the minuscule details about balance in TFT. But right now, I think Kane is definitely, in terms of if I was a developer of who I would be looking at, that's definitely one of them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree with you though. I think that overall, I think that the balance changes and just like the relative power levels, and everything, and comps of TFT have been in a really good state since kind of like the last few patches of end of set 3, and I think it goes into being really, it feels really good in set 4 as well. A couple of outliers, of course. There's like the Canes, maybe sometimes Aphelios, but Aphelios was in that B patch there, a little bit of his
Hmm.
power being taken down because it was a bit frustrating to go up against Aphelios's, and it's like, all right, playing for second place right now. But it's very interesting though. I mean, this isn't a 4v4 or team format, but in the 4v4 team format, Aphelios didn't really seem to take many wins because you're coordinated, you can deny some Aphelios's for everybody else and make sure they take a lot of damage before they hit. So it'd be interesting actually to see a Fight Night Rising with a team, kind of a team element to it. Maybe
That'd be
sometime in
sick.
the future. That'd be kind of cool. But either way, right now,
And
still getting that
nudge,
solo play.
nudge.
Yeah. We'll see, we'll see.
And and solo play is just as good. I mean, it's one of those situations where team sports are great, but I've always really liked tennis. I've always really liked like the 1v1, right? And with all
Mhm.
of these players in this lobby versus each other, and with one winner, there's something special about that too. But there's also something special about team games. I mean, in another card game made by another company, at one of their conventions, they did a team version of it, and it was great, right?
Oh,
A lot of collegiate card games are team versions, so I hope that that becomes less of like a non-traditional game mode, if that
yeah.
makes sense,
Yeah.
right? And more of just another way to play, which I think TFT can expand upon almost infinitely, right? Based off of just whatever ideas you have, right? There's so much. It feels like there's a lot of freedom involved in how you progress this game, and I think we actually saw a player in this lobby take some of that, Mortdog Invitational strategy and steal Ash from three players,
Yeah.
right? And that mattered. Those three players hit sixth, seventh, and eighth. So we're already evolving into that next step, which I know is going to be really exciting for everyone a part of the TFT team once this min maxing becomes pretty crazy once we've been playing for 2-3 years.
Oh, definitely. It's kind of a point that you mentioned earlier as well, in terms of, people denying units, that being part of the one of the various, strategies that you can utilize when playing TFT. But I actually, maybe it's just me, but I've noticed that in the start of TFT, in the Asception, I feel like people did it a lot more, at least at the higher end levels, the players that were really good, challenge level players. I feel like they held units a lot more at the end there.
Mm.
And then people stopped doing it, but then are doing it again now more as well. I don't know, maybe it's like a set 4 thing. There's more of a need to, because
Maybe.
I think it is actually, because thinking about it, you do see a lot more 4 costs being 3-starred, with
Mhm.
the addition of the chosen mechanic, so there's more of a need to try to look for those to deny them, because if you go against, like, a Jin 3 or a Riven 3 at the end, it's like, alright, well, I'm probably not winning unless I have some, like, insane comp right now, like we saw TreeBeard nearly do it last game, ended up taking 1 round, but wasn't able to take the second one. But, yeah, again, just the need for denying those becomes a lot greater.
Yeah, also in this set, it's very, very apparent that units like Ari, units like Riven, sometimes you just get bonked and there aren't any left
Yeah.
in the packs, and you have to wait for somebody to die. So you have to make that decision again. Well, my carry isn't going to be my carry until this person dies.
Yep.
What do I do here? And we've seen a lot of different decisions from a couple of these players already. We've seen the wholehearted commitment from like Emily for 2 lobbies in a row with that Elderwood Ash, but we've also seen a lot of last minute changes and transitions from people like TreeBeard and Locodoco. So that's a man. I could go on about how cool TFT is, but like how a group of people can have such different play styles and find
Yeah,
similar success. That's how
I love it.
you're in a competitive lobby.
Oh, definitely, and goes to show just, like, how good of a state that TFT is in general to be able to, have a world where people can do that and utilize so different play styles to achieve that in
Mhm.
an auto battle or auto chess type game. Emily, though, doesn't have any ashes or brawlers for now, instead has some cultists and a Garen. Starts the game with some unfortunate items there, 2 belts and a cloak. You really hate to see that one actually, because you don't really want to slam a Zephyr early. You don't really want to slam a Warmogs either. Warmogs actually is a huge bait item, the vast majority of the time in the set, because it just makes you a Giant Slayer target, so that Giant Slayer can deal more damage to you, and it doesn't actually do that much at all. So unfortunate start there for Emily, but hopefully she can kind of pick things back up here, taking some losses to pick third in the carousel instead of last.
Man, I have to say the gods of luck have not been on Emily's side today. Unfortunate. It was, 2 really close rounds getting absolutely like oh man, the only word I can think of is not appropriate for cats. But anyway, losing 2 rounds against someone with literally single digit HP,
Mhm.
right? And then coming in this time with items that just aren't that good. Like,
Yeah,
I would love to see her play a game, right, that is going well for her. I don't feel like we've gotten to see Emily do Emily things,
that's
right?
true.
Because the game hasn't really allowed her to. And I don't like saying, "RNG this, RNG that." But for real, though, it has
Yeah.
been a little bit of a hard time here for Emily.
No, definitely. Sometimes you low roll. That's TFT. Sometimes things just don't really go well, and you got to make do with what you got. And I think that's what separates good players from great players. And that in mind, I like this decision from Emily, is slamming the Onyx Bar, because you don't have much going on for you right now, but you do have a little bit. You're gonna be saying, okay, I'm gonna play for preserving HP. Maybe play for a top 4 placement here. I'm gonna slam Ionic Spark. Right now I'm level to 5, even though I just lost. I want to get a couple wins to go on at least on a 2-win streak before this carousel phase. Rayditz, though, has a blue buff Vigar, so it's gonna be pretty strong, with some tanky brawlers in the front line as well.
But the good news for Emily, oh, never mind. I was going to talk about I was going to talk about Callista being like that. There's one person who's good against tanks. It is that Callista, especially with attack speed. But the Elderwoods are going to take her down anyway, and that's got to feel like extra bad. Like the time she's not like doesn't
Yeah,
have Elderwoods on her bench, she gets beat by it. Someone is like writing the script for her at this point. Ugh. Anyway, I'm fingers crossed. We do get that cultist in with that TF taking the Callista out.
yeah.
TF2 is a little bit better, but we haven't seen any cultists really so far today, Crowan.
We saw, I believe it was Spencer running 6 cultists last game for a time, but then again, it didn't even lead. It was just kind of like I'm gonna play for a little bit of a better placement. Not really. It wasn't anything like top 4 related. But yeah, cultists did get nerfed a little bit ago, so the less oppressive early game when you get them. Usually it was like, okay, you get Cultist early game, you're win streaking until it
Yeah,
was
cultist
Krugs.
keeper.
Yeah, Cultist Keeper. And we see Emily playing that here. And I still actually do see DuoCube user, rank 1 NNA once again right now. He plays a lot of that early game to some decent success. It's just again not as oppressive here. Emily, I think, is gonna win this round, which I don't even know if it's good for her at this point. She leveled, slammed an item, and lost last round to go on a 2 streak, but now wins this round, so gets 1 gold, but no streak, and is, kind of lacking when it comes to gold here.
Whew, well, that actually whoa. I had puberty again. Weird. That is actually something that is really, really interesting to me that you mentioned again. It seems like a theme throughout a couple of our players here has been breaking their economy, right?
Mhm.
Hitting the loss or win when they don't want to. What do you
Mm.
think that is? What do you think the reasoning is? Is it because the rest of the lobby is just so strong that maybe it's not as for sure that you can't go into a round and be like, okay, I'm probably going to win this. Let's move on because every single round you might lose.
Yeah, it's prioritizing preserving HP over having good economy, which, I mean, you can get top 4s that way, so I don't necessarily dislike it. I think it's a fine decision to make. I guess I think I tend to see, like, top ladder players go for a greedier style of play more, but I think in tournaments, going for that consistent play is a little bit more rewarding, though. Um, just on average. I think that Emily, while she is gonna be in a decent spot right there, she should have an Aatrox in her shop. I think she'll be able to stabilize there. She's one off of running 6 cultists, which is still really, really good in the mid game. We are switching to Doublezz here, though, who has a fortune chosen Annie and even slams a Morello's on her. Doublezz did go first place in last game. He is like I think Doublezz plays really well with momentum. Usually, when we've seen him here, if he has a poor placement in games number like 1 and 2, he kind of doesn't really turn it up a little bit into the next ones. But here, though, he is running on momentum. I think he is making decisions right now to preserve HP and to get him to that point where he can, have a similar performance to last game, get those canes and get that kind of strong late game online.
Man, Annie is so
Does lose
tanky.
this though, yeah.
Is able to withstand the warlords for longer than I think she should be able to. And the Morellos is a really interesting choice for
Yeah.
the Annie. I get it, right? There's a giant spell there, gives her a little bit more tanky. Then you have the anti heal, which in this patch is only on a couple items, right? So and a couple units. But the moral of the story here is that I'm seeing fortune still on the side of
Yeah.
the board. And when you go fortune, you can go sharpshooter or you can go mage. And right now we're investing in the mage aspect, and we gotta get the double cast from that Annie. Now that we're going up against keepers, actually this could be but that target prioritization
Oh,
Annie,
okay.
you getting dizzy? You wanna look behind you real quick? That's gonna help the rest of your team, my friend. Uh,
Yeah. Is there gonna be enough? I mean, Tiff gets another cast off here. Annie's still alive. Oh, okay, I think actually Annie wins this. With Morello
yeah.
will reduce the healing of Elise, and he'll be able to cash in on 6 fortune. So really want to see what Doubles is able to pick up here with these actually, Annie?
Uh,
I spoke too soon. Never mind.
this is
Annie.
Annie, guys. Annie is tanky, friends, and that's a really good example on that. I feel like though, yeah, there's a Morello's, but if I feel like if it was a little bit more defensively focused, even a
Yeah.
Warthog might have been a little bit better in that situation to maybe pull it off. But with 3 fortune and a 7 loss streak, you're actually okay with that to a certain extent, especially since you are on a 7 loss streak and not in last place.
Yeah.
And that's called looking at it with the glass half full.
It
I'm
it really
I'm not
is. I
last.
mean, no, you're not last right now. You're still in an okay spot if you're able to cash in. Doubles did roll a lot of gold last round to cash in. Going up against only a Vigar 1 here. The Vigar might just one-shot this TF though. Okay, doesn't target the TF here. If he gets a cast off, that's huge. He
Cast
does.
off.
The
Chill
targeting isn't
gauntlet.
amazing though, unfortunately. And Vigar got the gunblade shields. Uh,
We got to go
yeah.
to the shooting range with Doubles' team, Khroen.
We really
They
do. They need
are
to
cross-eyed, man.
they need to get something
We
something checked here,
a
'cause
round ago, we saw Annie make a complete circle, and not at any point was she looking at the most important person that she should be looking at. And it kind of happens again this time around. But we get some better units, a little bit more gold here for the carousel if you
yeah.
want to grab that Shen. But good items here, actually.
Some solid ones. Looking at Sphinx perspective here, 98 HP Sphinx once again dominating a lobby, setting himself up to not only have a good games 1 and 2, but to get a good game 3 as well. I'm liking this a lot out of Sphinx here.
So, full disclosure for everyone watching, Sphinx and I have known each other literally since beta. And it's always been really funny because I've been casting Fight Night Rising for a bit now, and Sphinx has been here a couple times, and he comes back a lot, but he never wins. And so we've been joking around. It's like, Boop will interview me one day. And today might be that day. Sphinx showing up on this third lobby. Of course, last week it was the fourth
Mhm.
lobby that I think he got seventh or eighth in that ended up losing out that whole thing. But he's built up quite a bit of a lead on this particular lobby so far. A 4-point lead is quite a bit.
Yeah,
So it might end up happening. We might be hearing Sphinx a little bit later, but the rest of the lobby do not want that to happen. And they're going to try their best to push him, not just at the bottom of the scoreboard, but at the bottom of this lobby, because there's going to be a
mhm.
point where even if you want to win, you're going to need the help from your friends.
Definitely. And looking at Sphinx's board here, I honestly thought it was a little bit stronger here. I thought it was 4 Enlightened going into a Talon, but it's just 4 Enlightened and then Wukong with a Deathcap Zephyr. Like, it's good to win streak early, which he is doing, so I still like it a lot. I am just worried for later on in the game here. You don't have any swords, you don't have any rods, you don't really have direction when it comes to a carry right now. This Janna, okay, Janna does get a shield off, and hey, this is why we're seeing this win streak happen right now, is because of that 2-2 Janna and the intentional slamming of using those 3 cloaks with that Declaw and that Zephyr. Like, he has 4 cloaks, 2 belts, and a glove right now for items. Like, that's so bad, actually, for things. But he is making it work. He is
Yeah,
making it work well.
the other crazy thing about it is, and unfortunate for Sphinx, is the way this game works. He's not getting much more than that, right? So this is what he's working with, and the fact that he's finding success with it now is actually a pretty big deal. All
Yep.
very defensively focused items, and with an enlightened comp, we can maybe see Bonky Kong, which is that carry Wukong, Wukong 3. I've been seeing a little bit of Irelia 3 recently because that cast can shut off some of our auto attacking components in that back line. That seems to be like a last resort type of situation if you're running
Yeah.
this enlightened comp, which we never really see. Khroen, tell us why. Like enlightened and divine are not really something we see at Fight Night.
Yeah, the only thing that we see with Enlightened is going to be Talon. It's a really good unit. So you go Talon and Morgana as your carries. You go Irelia as a little bit of a front line. You can throw Shen in there too to give you a depth and Mystic. But then you have Janna shielding is insane. You have Lux in there for the Dazzler along with Morgana. It all just kind of fits and roll together. You can throw a Pike in for the 2 assassin buff. But Talon we haven't really seen too much of, but I still think it's really, really strong. In order for Sphinx to pivot into Talon, however, though, he's gonna need to find a sword, at least one sword, if hopefully two, honestly, to make that work here. But I want to stay on Sphinx into this next round and see how his roll down looks, or because he saw the Wukong already, right? Which makes me think this like has to be the roll down turn. Isn't able to get a sword though, but gets a Nico.
It's an
Like,
Ecos.
yeah, what is it? Okay, what does he do here? Double Jin, but doesn't look like he's gonna pick it up.
I think he might be committed to this enlightened comp right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like it.
Um, Well, because the other thing I actually wanted to say once I saw him pick up that Lux, Grode, you're a big Lux fan when it comes to this set. That anytime you can fully CC a team, and with units like a Zero on the board or anything that can
Oh,
create a nice little line for you, Lux can shut off an entire team, almost like a Sejuani ult, right? But you
yeah.
get access to her earlier. But let's see if it's gonna matter this time around. And it looks like the Lux will at least get 3 if she ults right here and right now. And one of them is going to be that Callista.
Yeah, Lux has a decent ulti there. Going up against Locodoco with the Duelist, of course, as we are used to seeing at this point. Okay, Sphinx does decide to put the Declaw on the Talon. That is an interesting decision. These Talon items are not going to be great, but probably just tries to find a BT. I feel like you need to go IE on Talon, though, for him to actually do work. Who does Cassiopeia chosen? Oh, picks it up. Is this a pivot into Riven? You hit a Riven in the shop too. No, never mind. It's not. It's a talent commit.
It's just for the dusk increase because it's one of
Yeah.
those 2 sets, and with dusk and
Invested.
with particularly with Lux and Morgana too, and even Irelia to a certain extent, that is going to make them just a tad bit stronger. This Lux is going to hit like a truck here in just a second. I'd love to see a world where Lux can get some items, or we're very very close in. I don't know if it's actually a good thing to like support carries in this game, kind of like Annie or like Janna and Beta, right?
Yeah.
But Sphinx is playing this really, really well. One of the best long game players, in my opinion, in TFT right now. And we talked about how quick players like Duoku Abuser are. Sphinx is very different, in my opinion, from that. He's really, really good at seeing 6, 7, 8 rounds ahead. The issue is when it doesn't come to fruition like Sphinx expects it to, that's when we start to struggle.
Definitely. Sphinx still high HP right now is going to be able to go level 8 and put in 4 Mystic. I think 4 Mystic, 4 Lighten is the real like sweet spot of this composition here. But you don't have Assassin though, which I think if Talon's gonna carry, he does need to Assassin in there. So like what do you take out though? I think it'd have to be the Lux if you want to keep 4 Mystic, because 4 Mystic looks so important, especially going against this comp of doubles here, like a Dusk Ari. You kind of need that.
Let's see how effective. Oh, it doesn't matter because of the Jeweled Gauntlet. So how now that Ari has Jeweled Gauntlet and is already at tier 2 from Doublezz, who looks like he cashed out of that fortune. That's the only reason why I feel like the Ari would be tier 2 right now. But or he might have just given up and hit the Ari. But I think that with that 4 Mystic and knowing there's a Jeweled Gauntlet Ari somewhere, is it worth it now? Like, does the Mystic even matter at this point, or are you?
Yeah, I think it does. I think Mystic on top of having a declaw is nice. You need a good item though for the Talon. Like you saw that Talon get stuck on Thresh for basically the whole fight there, and you have Hodge and no assassin buff, so your Talon's not actually doing anything. Like Sphinx choosing to pick up a rod here instead of a crit glove, so isn't going to want to go IE or anything of the sort. Probably just taking that for the Morgana to go Morello's on her, which is solid, but again, talking about the items earlier, the 4 cloak, 2 belt glove, not looking good for Sphinx here. I'm actually concerned if Sphinx can or can make this game into a top 4 from this point, just because the talent items are just actually just so depressing.
Uh, yeah, definitely Sag, for sure. Sphinx might be in a position right now, unless like the Lux gets a beefy ult, and he's looking at Soju, who
Yeah,
is seems to be stealing everybody's comps today.
Soju's
Uh,
just him but better, him but
yeah,
strong.
even though Soju is in 3rd place, he's already got that Morgana 2, which I think is a
Oh
bigger
yeah.
deal. We do have, oops, that Aatrox man, just a invigorated Blitzcrank cosplaying as a Darkin. But even the Morgana with the Morello is not really going to be helping much. The Lux is going to be the one doing a lot more of that damage. Talon, though, could potentially bring this up,
Close.
but no ultimate from that Riven takes down Sphinx. And I could really see Sphinx losing 3, 4 games in a row, maybe even more than that, a la TreeBeard from the first lobby. With
Yeah.
what he's got right now, because the comp he has right now also falls off. So not only does he have a comp that can fall off, it's a comp that he doesn't have the right items for. So all that
Yep.
stuff is going to be accelerated, which is really unfortunate for Sphinx.
It falls off unless you're able to be at a point where you're so strong and you have good items, you can hit like Talon 3, Morgana 3. That's when you see this Talon Enlightened comp win games. Without it though, gonna be a struggle. Without the items, also gonna be a struggle. Going up against Rayditz here. Rayditz actually top of the lobby with this. Only an Ash 1, but has the Vigard 2. He had the blue buff and the Gunblade very early on, and is still, well, looking to make it work there. But Talon's actually doing something here. He rolls, I think he rolled damage there. And everyone kind of did a lot of damage there. Yeah, got an equal amount. The Cassio ulti, the Morgana, everyone kind of equally contributing to their share of the fight there from Sphinx's board, fortunately for
They,
him.
they must have had one of those like trainings, right? Where someone
Yeah.
comes in and it's like, this is teamwork. T, together.
Yeah.
E, everyone. Right? And they came in here and they learned how to be a team together. So Sphinx, good job getting a nice professional development for for your team here. I actually want to see Rayditz a little bit more because we haven't really seen Rayditz and Spencer's all that much. So we'll go through them before we
Yeah.
kind of hit back onto like Loco and Soju. But Rayditz is 6 Elderwood and successful with it. So maybe finally, for the first time today, we'll see Ash do something.
Yeah, not only does Rayditz have a good 6 Elderwood comp going on here with this Svigar, but actually has decent items for or this Svigar, but has decent items for the Ashe as well. And that's gonna be really important having both of them being able to carry here. Oh, hits the enlight or hits the Talon chosen assassin there, but doesn't want it. That'd be funny to take it though, just to keep denying those Talon players. But ooh, Mystic Yumi? Yeah, I was actually gonna say I kind of like that. It gives Spirit and it gives a 2 Mystic kinda, like, for free there as well. Hits the Ashe too. It's huge. What do you go here? I think you go BTIE, honestly. Um, yeah, okay. And does end up doing that.
You get
Goes
your
up against
attack
TreeBeard
speed
with Aphelios 4, though.
from Spirit anyway,
Yeah, a little
right?
bit.
You're not going to get the like big, massive, quick damage from like Giants, double Giant Slayer that we saw earlier, but this one is going to have a little bit more sustain with the crit, especially so when Ash crits, it's going to be more lifesteal. My brain literally shut off for a second there. More more lifesteal for that bloodthirster
Yeah.
as Rayditz picks up another victory. He's at a nice amount of HP right now, and Spencer's already dead.
Spencer. Yeah, Spencer fell at 5-1 rather early there, unfortunately. So the rough day continues to get even rougher there. See, Locodoco on the side actually hit Jax 3, so going Duelist again and hit a power spike. But going back to the Ash of Rayditz, though, having not only the cloak for QSS, but also the cloak from BT means that you are like surprisingly tanky against magic damage there, having 2 cloaks. You have the Mystic buff as well, though, with the 2 Yumis, so you're not gonna be quite, under as much threat as you usually expect.
I totally agree, and I think we saw this with a little bit of some Yi shenanigans with some players who weren't able to get like RFC or something. They build him a little bit more melee oriented, a little bit tankier, and the Bloodthirster is the only reason why Rayditz was able to take down 1 or 2 extra units
Yeah.
there, which means that he might that 6-7 HP extra might be the difference in winning or losing a little later on. Is that Talon is getting a little dizzy, hopping, doing a little bit of Cirque du Soleil on the field right now.
Yeah, man, taking doubles down to 7 HP. He's gonna be on 1 life remaining. Right, it's kind of stabilized here in a pretty good spot right now. Would be surprised if he doesn't make it into the top 4 from this position here. Looking pretty good for that. It's interesting seeing his positioning here as well. The Yumi wants to be able to be on the opposite side of Ash, so she's gonna be able to cast, heal up the unit that needs it, and then dash to the corner there and buff that Ash attack speed up because she's outputting a lot of damage right now, along with this Vigar.
Yumi is not a unit that a lot of people talk about just in general, I feel like, but is one of those units that can surprisingly help your team out pretty immensely. And you actually just saw that Yumi heal herself and survive an ultimate from that Lilia, but I don't know
Decayed,
how good the rest of the team is going to do, especially with this Dusk Cane with Jeweled Gauntlet, IE. Those are some beautiful items for that Cane doubles. Should
yeah,
be good at 7 HP unless he rock paper scissors into something that will destroy him. As Sphinx does find the IE on the Talon, I think I saw it. So that's
okay.
why Cirque du Soleil is online. Cirque du Talon for Sphinx right now.
Very nice. Yeah, I was kind of worried for him, but if he hit that IE, that is exactly the item that he needed there, I think, to stabilize. And he is on a little bit of a win streak there, 74 HP, still top of the lobby. Doubles, though. He hit what's reminiscent of the last game in terms of the Kane with the Dusk Spat, has a GA Angel Gauntlet as well, but you only have Kane 1 and you're 1 hit from perishing here, and you really don't have anything else going for you on that board as, Rayditz quickly scouted that one out, though. It's like a Sejuani tank frontline, and then a Kane. You have 4 Dusk, but, like, that's kind of it there. One unlucky matchup, and it will be lights out.
Yeah, doubles. I mean, basically, if you tell him a secret, he might die. At 7 HP, right? It's just that it's just that unfortunate, especially since his team does look good, right? Especially with that Kane. We will see how long we're going to be able to run with a tier 1 Kane, though, because eventually that will be an issue. But with a Jeweled Gauntlet, flip of a coin, right? Maybe that's where Emily's luck is. Actually, Emily's having the right luck right now at 56
Yeah.
HP. We're looking over at Raptor Kid, who is Locodoco at 4th, and we see our first Lee Sin in a very, very long time, as he is going to be able to take someone down. This is one of the best ways to get backline units out of the game, but the Jax is going to do it for you. So many different carry opportunities for Locodoco. That team is looking strong right now.
That is the power of this duelist composition. Not only does Locodoco have that Jax 3, but is also 2 away from Yasuo and Kalista as well, it looks like their doubles did run into an unfortunate matchup last time and did fall in 7th place there. You hate to see it, especially when you hit that cane with those items, but the rest of the comp just didn't
Yep.
really have much going on for it, so
We
hits
don't
the
take
7th
those.
there.
We do
We
not
don't
take
take
those.
those.
Sometimes it just be like that as 2019 memes come back.
Yeah.
TreeBeard now. Did he
Ooh.
get a haircut or something? Anyway,
I have no
uh,
idea, dude, but maybe. You might be
um,
right.
uh, sorry. Sometimes, like the filter between the brain and the mouth is very, very small. Uh, and so we're looking at Goodnight Moon right now. We've got 3 Moonlight,
True.
4 Spirit. That Spirit Moonlight's actually not something that I see very often in my ladder games, but those items on Aphelios are the items you want. QSS GA with that Rage Blade. Yes, the interaction with his turrets are a little bit different. Yes, his first turret's coming way later than it used to, but I mean, at tier 4, with those 3 items, that's going to be doing work regardless. So it's going to be up to, I think, our Shade players or some of our other beefier tanks to get back there, or even at least just kick him off the board.
What a roll there from TreeBeard, rolling 2 Ezreals there for Ezreal too. He's already playing the unit anyway. For the Dazzler, debuff there, I think is pretty solid. But as you said, the perfect items on that Aphelios. TreeBeard's in a really solid spot here. Rolled the Moonlight Aphelios, and has a Jewel Gauntlet even here as well for the Ahri. Has a ZZ Rot as well. I was going to talk about that last matchup and the fact that some people actually, say, and I kind of agree with, that Talon has one of the better matchups against Aphelios. He's able to jump there, take out the
Mhm.
GA, jump and kill other units, and then come back to the Aphelios once he spawns. But Treebeard's kind of ran over the Talon in the last fight there. And I think that's because of, he's a lot of good stuff going on for him. Ionic, I think, is a solid item for that solo frontline Shen, but you do have the ZZ Rot for some supplemental frontline as well. After that Lissandra does fall, you have the Dazzler as well, which will be huge against a lot of these comps there, as we see Loco hitting that Yasuo 3 finally. That's gonna be pretty spooky here, but yeah, again, liking what Treebeard has the Jewel Gauntlet there for the Ahri now as well.
All right, my glasses brethren here is hoping for another victory, another really, really close lobby between everyone here right now. Everyone looking up at Sphinx at the moment. We do have contact with that Aphelios, and that's what I'm talking about, right? If someone is able to like high five Aphelios, right, or blow in
Yeah,
their face, it's over for him. But if that Aphelios has literally any time to ramp up, right, then it becomes almost like Sisyphus in the hill. You bring that boulder all the way up just to have that Aphelios push you right back down. And TreeBeard is going to be at 7 HP, Emily at 7 HP, Soju at 17, Rayditz at
yeah.
20. Guys, this is another lobby where it's going to be duel to the deaths.
Close lobby. And also, going back to speaking about good matchups into Aphelios, the Jax 3 with the Duelist there from Loco. The hardest counter to Aphelios actually is Jax, as you cannot kill him and he spends a lot of time attacking him. So I think that Duelist composition will win every day of the week with what Loco's
Yeah.
board is looking like right now. So Treebeard survived that matchup, but has to survive every single other one as well. The Yuumi, actually, I don't like this Yuumi position. Okay, well, it's eating the Zephyr as well, but I was gonna say don't like it in conjunction with the Aphelios position, because you want the Yuumi to be buffing that Aphelios attack speed. However, the Talon, though, is again a good matchup. Talon might win.
Another really good example of you get to the Aphelios, things get a little bit harder, but he got a little bit of ramp up time, right? And so that's how you win that interaction, right? You pretty much you have to send your shade to Aphelios immediately. We saw Locodoco do it. That's how you do it. We'll see if any other player is going to be able to take down Aphelios himself, as Soju with his Talon He's the one with the bad itemization at this point on that
Yeah.
Talon, not Sphinx. But again, 1, 2, 7, 7, 36, and 38. I mean, at this point, too, the 38 and 36 isn't that much HP either, right? So if they
Oh,
lose 2 rounds in a row, they could be gone. So if you're any of these players, it's all about just winning that next round, right?
yeah.
And potentially getting yourself a top 4.
Soju goes into the matchup against Sphinx here. Talon versus Talon. The double shroud, though, from Soju is really nice here. The Morgana 2 difference as well. 6 enlightened, but the Talon actually from Sphinx is damaging the Talon from Soju and gets it into the GA state already and gets taken out right away after it is proc. So now the Talon of Sphinx has no threat left, and Soju will be going out probably in 6th here, actually. Yeah, he does. Loses, but oh man, Rayditz lost in 5th and TreeBeard lost in 4th. If you're TreeBeard there, you're like, all right, feels good, man. At least I got a 4th out of that one.
I know, right? Like that is a like Mort God has gifted him a 4th place
Yeah,
at that point in time. And you know that
yeah.
you mentioned even before the nerf, people moving away from Aphelios, and I think that's why. It's not really a comp that people have learned how to counter it. I think this set is the best example of fluid meta in terms of, all right, you know, Donkey Kong was like the first thing that was good on this set, right? And then we switched into something else. And then we got to
Mhm.
Aphelios now, where I think that was already on its way out, but needed a little bit of kick in the butt to get out of the door finally, right? It's like, you don't have to stay here. You know, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, right? And now
Yeah.
we're kind of moving away from it, which I think is wonderful for the health of the game just in general. So
Oh, yeah.
and now you get like the natural fluid uh meta shifts along with the player interaction and incentive to affect the meta per lobby too, and that's the best of both worlds.
It definitely is. Oh, this Kane from Emily. She leveled it up to Kane 2 during that preparation phase, and it's trying to pop off though and do it real well, but not quite enough there. The Riven is actually going to fall as well, and the Ghost of Sphinx will take out Emily here. Man, she was scouting and doing really well positioning there, but she didn't move the Riven away from the Zephyr is the only thing. I think that's kind of what caused that that matchup there. Oh, actually, Sphinx lost the last round. Locodoco with those duelists showing up.
I don't know how Sphinx with this particular composition beats that Jax 3.
You don't. Especially with Morgana 1. Yeah, it's actually, Jax has Thieves' Gloves, so if you get a bad Thieves' Gloves roll, it's possible. Loco actually putting everything on the bench, so you know, the Zephyrs is gonna be a lot harder to target, and oh, actually hits the Jax, though, with the Zephyr. That's huge.
Gets oh, that's actually really interesting. I've never really thought of that before. Big ultimate though, from that Shen getting into the back line. We already have those zillion ults on line. Jeweled Gauntlet is actually going to be quite a bit of damage, especially with true damage. Knock someone off of the board, and this Duelist comp is absolutely destroying right now. Yasuo is just looking cool. At the moment, as
Yeah,
Sphinx will fall. No, 4 HP, but I don't really see how any item, any situation really helps Sphinx
no.
here
I'm gonna
against
commit to
Locodoco.
yeah, I'm gonna commit to when I say, how do you win against the composition? You don't? I'm pretty sure you just don't at this point. Locodoco, level 8, has the Duelist spat, has 8 Duelist, a Yone 2, Yasuo 3, Jax 3. Doesn't have Lee Sin 2 yet, though, but has the pair and is gonna be on around 30 gold after this to roll down for it. Like, this is it even has Thieves' Gloves on the Yone and the Jax here. Like, this is such a good spot. He's win streaking for so
Mhm.
long right now. Win streak through all of stage 6. Like, if you want to play Duelist and you want to get good at this composition, just look at how Locodoco plays it because he is, I think, probably the best Duelist player right now that I have seen in all of TFT.
Wow, that is some wonderful words coming in from Khroen, and you're a believable guy, you know. So I would tend to go along with you, and we're actually going to see the Zephyr plays here. This is what I'm talking about in terms of that next step,
Hopefully.
right? In terms
Yeah.
of where players are going. We have not really seen that. Like it happens, right? But what you can do against a Zephyr player is this exactly. You can even leave if you don't have any other units. You can even leave all of them on the bench and have the game put them in for you and see what gets Zephyred, right? I probably wouldn't do that, but what Locodoco is doing is putting as much pressure on Sphinx to make a play himself by keeping his hands close to him, keeping his cards close to him. And like you said, Locodoco is not going to lose this lobby. When you go Duelist uncontested against, like you said, one of the best Duelist players in TFT, this is what happens.
That fight was so dominant there. The Lee Sin 2 1v1ing the Talon there. There's nothing they can do. Every other duelist there just ran over everything else on the board there. If you think of duelist and you're like, oh, okay, I don't know if maybe it's just a top 4 composition. Like, no, duelist can win games outright and do it dominantly there, as you saw Locodoco do. That's going to be huge because Loco was one of the players who is going to be in contention for a first place, if not a top 3. Sphinx, though, still got another top placement. So as we take a look at the scores here, Boop, Sphinx is doing it right now. Still one more game to go, but a 6-point lead here between himself and Locodoco.
I believe if I am doing my math right, and we don't have a good track record, double check. I think if he gets 6th or higher, he wins.
Okay, 6-point difference. If Loco gets a first,
He
Loco
needs
win on
5th.
tiebreakers. Yeah, he needs 5th. He needs 5th.
So if Sphinx gets 5th or higher, then he wins. Locodoco needs to beat Sphinx by.
I think he actually needs 4th because I think if Loco gets first,
this is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
this is what I mean by NA math. This is not our strong suit, but we will get there eventually. We have some people who are moderately better than us at math dealing with those scores. So we'll definitely get you the updates as this last lobby goes. But the funny thing about last lobbies is it's kind of its own little bubble. It's its own little vacuum of space. Everything is a little different because the goal is in sight. You're no longer just accruing points. You're no longer setting yourself up. Right now is when you pull the trigger, and Locodoco needs the help from the rest of the lobby to win out on tonight. But really, who's going to be second and third? It really can be anybody, as we saw. Someone like Emily get 3rd place in that lobby, but is still in 6th or 7th in the standings. So this last lobby is going to be absolutely insane. I don't think you let Locodoco go uncontested on Duelists this time around. If I'm Sphinx, I might just take Duelists and just run it because Locodoco is known to run that, right? And if I'm Sphinx, I might just say, I just have to finish ahead of you, right? So I'm just going to steal all your units. In terms of other next level strategy, I think that could be a viable option for Sphinx in this lobby.
It could be a viable option, but it is real risky. I think I draw the comparison back to set 3 mech. If you're running mech and contesting a player like, let's just say Khroen, for example, one of the best mech players, you're probably placing under him, and he's going to play that just so much better and maybe even go first.
Good point.
There.
Very good point.
So, yeah, I think it's a risky style. Sphinx actually, ironically enough, starts with the Yasuo here from the carousel. But if you're confident in playing Duelist and you're confident you can play it at least, on par to Loco, then sure, you could do that, and I think it'd be fine. But it is a risk either way. If you low roll and Loco high rolls it, just gonna be so far ahead, and you're gonna be kind of doomed, based off of just being that far behind. I think.
So, just so you know, Khroen, if I'm ever in this situation and you're Locodoco and I'm Sphinx,
Yeah.
I'm taking your units. I'm just letting you know right now. That's how I'm going to play this, and we'll figure out who's good and who's not
Sure.
at the end because we are picking up more duelists for Sphinx.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Sphinx very well may go for this. I know, you and Sphinx good friends. We were on the same wavelength there. You're like, yes, this is time. I'm gonna beat him at his own game here. I'm gonna be the duelist player.
Yeah.
So not great duelist items for now.
Sphinx doesn't need good items apparently, right?
Yeah,
Top
true.
4.
We did say that last game. Sphinx actually, for the items that he had, he played so well with them. If you have 4 cloaks and 2 belts, I can just picture in my head Soju saying, "It's an FF." Like, go next game. Get me out.
Get me out of here. Not even
Sphinx,
worth it.
Yeah, but Sphinx though made it work out real well there, and definitely an impressive performance there. Can he do it again though? Like we talked about the lead that he has, 6-point lead, needs to get. He might be safe with a 5th, but I think if Loco does get first, he'll win the tiebreakers there. But if he just top 4s at all, for sure, guaranteed, Sphinx will be first place here. Will he do it though? Will Sphinx win a Fight Night Rising?
There is a long history of not just Sphinx, but he is a part of this, of what I'm saying. But a lot of people coming into this fourth lobby in fourth place and then getting seventh or eighth
Yeah.
in this last lobby. It's happened, I think, 4 or 5 times since we've casted. Sometimes it doesn't matter, right? I think that's Primal came in, got eighth place in the last lobby, and then won.
Yeah. Yeah.
It happened in Europe with another player. Did Barry Batten get a last place and win or get top three? But anyway,
It's
it's
close, but yeah, it has happened.
yeah, it happens kind of frequently when we get to this last lobby. And the one way that I think it might cause an issue is how different of an environment this last lobby is. It forces you to potentially play in ways that you've never played in before. Just to, again, you need to either defend the title or pull the trigger, right? And where you stand on that is really determined on where you come in to that last lobby. So we've got people playing totally different games. Sphinx and Locodoco are playing a much different game than someone like Rayditz, who's trying to top three.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's kind of the beauty of this tournament setting. You have to play when it comes to game number 4 in different ways. Like you maybe aren't playing to win, but you're playing the top 3, so you can get a little bit of that prize pool and come back next week. But Sphinx wants to very much protect that lead that he has right now, so may also be going for a top 4 style. But if you're someone like Loco, do you go all out, go for that first place? Like, hey, it's everyone's gonna have a couple little bit of a different decision making process there. Sphinx though, I think has a kind of unfortunate start here. We know Sphinx likes to win streak early a lot and use that early lead, but you don't have cultist here. You just have pairs. You don't have I mean you have keeper, but like you don't have a good chosen. You didn't get that much gold from the early game. You don't have items to slam. Like it kind of sucks. A little bit of a sucky start here for Sphinx though.
I mean, he is running that Janna, who is been arguably the most annoying early game unit,
Yeah,
definitely for Emily, but
agreed.
for the rest of the board as well, as he does end up losing, and Sphinx is potentially a little lost right now in terms of exactly which direction they want to go. Now we do have a tier 2 unit with that Fiora, but that's not the one you want, right? You want that Yasuo to come in as soon
Yeah.
as possible. Can we just real quick go over to Loco? I'm curious to see if he's running Duelist, because the next level play, right, is like I just told you I'm going to take your Duelists, right?
Yeah.
Then you could just go, I'm just not going to play him. And it looks
Oh,
like
yes,
he
he
is
is.
definitely
Actually,
doing it.
that
This
was
is
such a
happening.
that was such a perfect timing to swap on over to Loco because I saw the chosen least. I was like, "Okay, he's leaving himself open.
Oh,
Maybe
look at
he
who it
does
is on the
go
other
for it."
side.
Yeah, it's Sphinx here. But, yeah, Loco was like, "Okay, maybe he's gonna not commit to it." He has a Jackson, but he has the chosen least. But Loco's like, "Nah, I'm gonna sell the chosen least. I'm committing, and I'm committing so hard right now that I'm just gonna make econ and look to win the round to save the win streak." And Yasuo might be able to do it actually for Duelist. That attack speed's ramping up there. It's gonna get into overtime pretty soon, and Janna shields can only save you from so much.
Man, remember pre launch Janna? She literally would win that.
Yeah.
But that isn't the case anymore, as Locodoco and Sphinx seem to both be running double duelist. So Khroen, we'll see who's right. We actually get to do like it's either you or me, bud. Right?
Yeah,
like
very much
we
so.
shall see. Locodoco is the better duelist player, in my opinion. Duelist and Sphinx don't
For
really actually seem to work,
Oh,
in my opinion, right? For Sphinx as a player.
yeah.
Sphinx tends to like the more like long game oriented comps, not like the all right, 8 duelists good, right? Or or along those lines. But Locodoco is going to be the one who has to respond to a player who is very used to this position, right? Locodoco has a lot of competitive experience, but this is his first fight night, and he is going up against someone who he just saw taking his units. So how are you going to adjust from this point on? It's going to be up to him.
Yeah, okay, slams the QSS there on the Yasuo. Kind of unfortunate because you're going into this as, Loco with what? He had a vest, a cloak, and a glove, I guess, which, I mean okay, now he's 2 vests actually, but, he actually chose to level there. Locodoco isn't committing to wanting to go Yasuo 3 early on. He seemingly like almost rarely or never plays that playstyle, but he does want to hit it at some point. He is trying to protect the streak though, but goes up against Soju, who has a Chosen Jax. Chosen Jax is one of the most important units that you can possibly find if you're looking to go a duelist. And even if Soju isn't committing though, that's already 3 Jaxes out of the pool, so it's going to be harder for Loco to hit that, especially as well with Sphinx also contesting.
Sphinx might not be contesting for much longer, though. At 78 HP. Does find the Yasuo too, though.
Yeah. Finds the
Um,
output too. Has a Zed on the bench. Maybe it's a Zed pivot. We'll see.
maybe. He loves his shades. We know that, right? I
Mhm.
mean, it's like him being on like CSI Miami or something. Loves his shades, doesn't like taking them off.
Yeah.
Locodoco, now at 92 HP, looking up at Treebeard, who is at that 100. But really, the life totals here are more important to look at the bottom half because it's about economy, right? And so Sphinx's health economy just isn't as high. He's got 3 less fights that Locodoco can mulligan pretty much
Yeah.
at the end. And man, Sphinx, I would love a last lobby. And I'm not saying this is happening, right? But I'm getting a little worried because this happens to Sphinx all the time, right? He crushes it for 3 lobbies and then 7ths or 8ths on the last one. And you can't do that in this particular situation when you're so close to winning fight night, which he's done before, right? But
Yeah.
it's been a tad, it's been a little bit.
Especially can't do it when, I mean, you have a really good lead off your Sphinx, but it's still scary. You're going up against Loco on his comfort composition here, who, just came away with a first place there on that comp. Finds a Callista as well. The thing is, from Loco's position, I'm trying to think about it a little bit more. He only has tier 1 units right now. It didn't I mean, it is on a 2 loss streak going into these Krug rounds here, but the units are kind of being contested right now. You don't have any tier 2s. You're going up against, Soju, who has that Chosen Jax, and Chosen Jax, going back to that, is a unit that you don't sell immediately. You play it for a while because it's strong. It can carry you for a lot of rounds, sometimes not even until, like, sometimes you'll keep it until Raptors, depending on kind of how far it's carrying you there. I think Soju might sell it a little bit earlier than that, but even still. Um, Locodoco, 84 HP. Nothing too worrying right now. Is going to commit, I think it looks like here, to Titan's Resolve. We'll see though. Not yet.
Titan's Resolve, man. When I first saw that item, I was like, okay, this is good for mech. And then I was like, I wonder how it's going to go in the next set. And it's really found a place for itself amongst a variety of different units, but mostly that Yasuo. You'll see it sometimes on Diana in like Goodnight
Yeah.
Moon. But right now, Locodoco struggling a little bit to find some units. He is losing not because he's going duelist, but because his duelists are all tier 1 right now. And you're not really going to win against much, especially up against some Vanguards with the little amount of damage he has as both players right now sitting on the bottom half of the
Ooh.
leaderboard.
I think Sphinx rolled a Shade Chosen Zed. I think that's what the Yoko just scouted there. I know someone hit it. I just didn't know who, but I think it's fixed there. So maybe saved. Maybe
Saved,
saved.
maybe, but that's
That's
actually
so lucky, actually. Like, this play, if you're Sphinx.
potentially good news for Locodoco as his units are no longer going to be
I
taken
mean,
by everybody because it's working right now. Look,
yeah, it is. It is. Um, though, if Sphinx gets just a 4th place, then he wins. I
that's true.
mean,
That's true. No need to be as fancy as I'm trying to make it be. Um, sometimes a good burger and fries is fine, right? I want right now. I'm like Sphinx. May you please have the 9-course dinner? Make it for me, right? And it needs to be perfect
yeah.
because that's how I like it. But no, you're totally right. Just getting the 4th and having a good 4th place comp will work too. Um, but I did like the initial stealing Loco's units, though. That was definitely a
It
certain
was
dominance
cute. It was
type of
cute.
situation. Is this Pike is going to ult into the back line, into the cannon ult, just to make this go a little quicker.
Yep. Get to the next round
Yeah.
there. Sphinx loses that one. He did level there to try to. Oh, okay. A couple more Zeds in that shop there, as Sphinx is now suddenly only 3 Zeds away from that tier 3 mark. I wonder if Sphinx does want to go a defensive item that's not BT on this Zed, or commit to that Rage Blade. I kind of think it's gonna be Rage Blade there. It's gonna give you a stronger spike right now, which is what you need if you're Sphinx. You're playing for that top 4, because that, again, that guarantees your win. So I think Rage Blade, and kind of call it a day there. and he's gonna be first pick maybe on carousel here. We'll see.
He's actually in a really good spot where his comp is actually moderately strong right now, and he's probably picking first on
Yeah,
the carousel. He might win this round. Actually, this is where we see
I like
him
it.
come back into the fray. Even though we're at 62 HP, we definitely are going to see him climb up that leaderboard on the sole basis of having the two shades right here and right now.
Yeah. Rayditz on the other side there not only loses the round. Okay, I was gonna say it was on 20 gold, but does sell the Yumi to go up to 30 gold there, but still 30 gold's kind of low right now. Ooh, Sphinx actually ends up okay, he wins the 50-50. Sphinx could have picked third here if he lost the 50-50 there, but Rayditz instead will be picking third. There is no bow available right now. Spencer already picked it up. So if you're Sphinx, you can't go Rageblade right now. Where are you looking to go? It's gonna be that vest. Um Maybe trying to go for a GA for an RA later on, because if you're running shades, you do want spirits as well to buff up
Mhm.
that attack speed. So I like that pickup there, given the bow is already taken.
So we will check in on Sphinx and Locodoco again a little bit later. We've gotten, I think we know the setup, right? We know what both need to do. I think Loco needs to hit that Jax 3, right, again, and Sphinx needs to keep investing into this Zed. Now let's take a look at Emily, who is Cultist Keeper. This is old school
Oh,
right now, but two Aatroxes on the board. Amazing unit, but since Cultist kind of a little out of favor right now, not something that we see as frequently, but is one of the best, if not the best way to get a carry from the back line into a vulnerable position. But
yeah.
right now, the only one that can kill that person is Kennen, as we have a group of tier 1 units and a Galio.
Okay, a couple things to talk about here. There's a Jewel Gauntlet on this cannon. There's also two Jewel Gauntlets on that Jax from Soju's board. So Soju's gonna be looking to pivot out of that, probably into an Ari or into a Kayn. I talked about the fact that Jax is a unit that you can win streak for a long time with and not have to sell that chosen for a long time. You're probably, if you're Soju, gonna take this to go to level 8 and find a Kayn and double Jewel Gauntlet Kayn. I think that's gonna be the likely route there. Also, at Emily, she got offered a Dusk Chosen Thresh in that last shop. Now gets offered a Viagar Chosen here, but has no tiers, so probably a little bit of a bait. But going back to talking about that Dusk Thresh, you have a spat right now. Could go Dusk Spat and go, I think, Ari with the Dusk Spat, and I think it would be a fine pivot there. I
Into it.
don't mind that at all. However, yeah, she's looking at that Viagar. Her face right now is so telling of like,
Uh,
what do you, I I like don't like to see that Viagar, but I maybe it interests me, but I don't like that it interests
well,
me.
she ran the Vigar in the first lobby, right?
Oh,
And she just didn't do that well with it as the Aatrox actually double Aatrox brings everyone online. I actually think maybe put the Kennen a little bit forward because even though both Aatrox ulted, they weren't in Kennen's Maelstrom. So we weren't
yeah.
able to do it. But I mean, they're all tier 1 units. And while Emily was on fire before we got here, we're just at the point in the game where that's just not enough.
So Spencer is contesting Duelist, actually. Spencer, I don't even think has the possibility to make it to top 4 right now, but is still contesting Duelist from Locodoco. Very interesting there, but Locodoco, he is one of the, if not the best Duelist player right now. So if anyone can make it happen with someone contesting, it is going to be Loco. Had a little bit of a rough start, is on 57 HP right now. But did I think win that last round there though.
Remember, he wants to finish ahead of Sphinx, who has that shade, and we just saw him, you know, point the plane down and then bring it right back up at the last
Yeah.
moment possible because the Mort God once again goes ahead and gives his boon to
Oh.
Sphinx, and that boon, oh, hello, force of nature
Oh.
possibility.
Mm,
Hello, shade chosen. But man, it's
yeah,
like
it doesn't like that one.
this is just a continuation of her day, to be completely honest with you, right? Last lobby, it was the items. This lobby, she's gotten 3 good chosens that do not fit in her team comp. And so she's had to pass through
Yeah.
all of those wonderful chosens.
Man, how long do you keep ignoring chosens for though? Like if you're Emily, I think it's really, really greedy at not taking that Kindred Chosen as an item carry right now. Because if you slap some Jeweled Gauntlets on a Kindred Chosen, It just wins rounds for so long, I think, and like this cannon, like look at what it's doing right now. Actually, like almost nothing. I think she's still gonna win the round either way.
It looks
Um,
like
but the cannon's
yeah,
like not that great. Oh, actually, maybe not.
if Kennen ults again, then me oh,
No,
hello.
not even winning the
Yeah.
round.
Well, and okay, so this is another issue with the comp is any slower comps are going to be inherently more vulnerable to set, right? So if
Yeah,
it takes a really, really long time to kill your opponent, then set's going to come back with his true damage, right? In his ripped abs after doing those sit-ups, and that's going to destroy Emily. And we just saw that happen is we pick up the Riven, but we didn't pick up the Dusk Chosen a little earlier on. Like I've been in this position
yeah.
before and it sucks, right? Like you've committed to a certain way because the early game has kind of gifted that to you, right? But then when you hit the mid game, the game kind of is like, no, I want you to go this way, but you can't, right? You've already committed. You've got to go this keeper cultist, which inevitably falls off in the late game, especially if this cannon keeps. Oh, that was a little bit of a better ultimate, but not all the ultimates have been that proficient.
Yeah. You know, Boop, when it comes to casting with you and terms that you throw out, one that comes to mind a lot is option paralysis. And I think that kind of is where Emily's at right now in terms of what do you go into, right? You didn't take the chosen dusk, but yet you're going dusks now. You have a bunch of chosens that were offered to you, but you don't want to take any of them. When do you actually, take one? When does that option paralysis like stop? Okay, maybe it's when you naturally roll pretty much everything here. Um, you're gonna get to, what you want. She also didn't choose to make a dusk spat, but chose to make a fawn instead. And I mean, fawn's solid. Like you're not gonna be unhappy with a fawn usually. You're not able to make this Riven though. It looks like unless you sell the Yumi. Just kind of hope you win the round. Okay, no, does actually choose to sell that Shen.
It's probably what I would have done too.
Yeah,
A little bit of extra gold, even though you're sitting at 3 gold. Let's see if this was how much of an upgrade this was. Kennen in a much better spot
yeah,
right now. He has to ult though and doesn't get the full cast off. So even though that's the problem with Kennen, I think you can get baited into how good he was in set one. Right. And then see him and now, and yes, Emily is going to win, but it wasn't because of Kennen, right?
yeah.
That wasn't her carry in that situation. It was definitely a lot more of the CC and the combination with that Cultist. So we do see a little bit of a power spike and a Zillion on the field right now. So 6 Cultists might be a direction Emily can go, but still a little weird right now.
I mean, the one thing I guess she has going for her is HP. Like she's still sitting at the top half of the lobby, but I think she's weak enough to whereas she can fall back into that like seventh, eighth pretty quickly on. She does grab a rod here though, but I need to see some really solid rolls here. But she has no gold. Like level 7, no gold. You're not gonna put yourself in a position to win the game.
Mhm.
I think there's basically like almost no chance that Emily wins the game, but she could still get into that top 4 if she does, is able to make something happen with this comp. Like, you're not gonna keep this cannon forever, though. Okay, you're going for vanguards right now. Taking out the cultist. Mm,
Very, very the unfortunate thing is Emily kind of put herself in this situation,
mhm.
right? There were two chosens I probably would have picked up, but definitely the kindred, especially after passing on a couple other ones because she didn't have a chosen. And like the thing about that is she could have just picked up the kindred and then sold it that next round, right?
Yeah,
Just to keep her a little bit safer in terms of that HP total. But hey, it seems to be working anyway. This
yeah,
duelist comp from a Raptor kid, which is Locodoco, is going to get pulled into that Sejuani
yeah,
ult, and
it's
that's
huge.
going to be absolutely brutal devastation to Locodoco. And the thing about Emily's comp is it doesn't necessarily look super strong right now, but against the right matchups, it can definitely take him down. And when you're able to take down duelists that quickly, and there's at least two of them in this lobby, you might be guaranteeing like at least a sixer up, and that's
Yeah.
that's you know
Ooh.
covering your bases, right?
Yeah, it is. Sphinx saw on the side there, hit a Z3, so that Shade power spike is going to be online there. TreeBeard with a 6 Elderwood. acting near the top of the lobby, but Soju. I think it's something that Soju does really, really well is he identifies what he's able to do to play a strong board and to go at like a fast level 8 and just like kind of play legendaries from there. He had the double Jewel Gauntlet earlier on the Jax, sold it to put it on an Ari, and it's still getting some decent wins there. And he's sitting at the top of the lobby still. Doubles though, kind of low, 36 HP. The Aatrox pulls in the Ashe there, and Emily, I mean, she's making it happen right now. She's making it work. I think it was a really good Ionic Spark Slam on that Riven, and the 4 Vanguards we played right now to keep her at the HP that she is at.
Mhm.
Still far away though from a level 8. Is only at 16 gold right now on 4-7 on these Arc Raptors round. So, like, when do you sell the Ken? I guess is the question.
Whew, that is the question for, like you said, for Emily, as we're going to be going over to Rayditz's screen at 17. Rayditz does not.
No.
That is he's. I love this kid. This is a let it happen type of thing, right? Like I
Yeah.
know I'm losing, and I'm dying with dignity. And he wins. So
I mean, it's the Raptor rat. I hope he wins.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. So he's just.
If he was
I was
losing,
so. I literally was looking at him that whole time, right?
yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, this must be around. He's thinking he's losing. Look at him, right?" But no. I hope he wins Raptors. When was the last time you lost against Raptors, Khroen?
Lost against Raptors? Never? I know I've lost against Wolves before. Oh, Rayditz, I'm down to FF. I'm too dizzy. Yeah, Rayditz looks a little checked out right now, not gonna lie. You
Yeah.
roll down level 7, you don't hit Ashe 2, you don't have 6 Elderwood, you don't have 4 Brawlers, like, you're just it's just an 8th. Like, there's nothing more to say about it.
Hmm. Oh, man, this is a whipping too. So that might be it. Yep,
Yeah.
that is it. 17 HP wasn't enough. Fast 8
Sad.
there. Unfortunate. Get hydrated. This K3 Soju is going to be at the top of the leaderboard. 4 Vanguards
Ooh,
here too.
okay.
Yeah. So Emily's not the only one.
Yeah, so 4 Vanguards, and he has 6 Sejuanis actually here, and a chosen Vanguard on that Aatrox. I thought he was going to go fast 8 to look for Canes, maybe either didn't find Canes or was satisfied with that double, jeweled gauntlet and the IE on the Ari. If that thing casts, it will delete a whole entire composition here, but it has to land well, and if you're going against Sphinx here, if that Z doesn't get targeted, it's just gonna clean up everything else. Okay, the Ari's casting.
Oh no! That was. Oh no!
That wait, wait?
Okay. So her auto attack's actually doing a lot of damage as well.
Yeah,
15k damage on that Ari. And the unfortunate thing for Sphinx is that actually could not have gone better for him. In terms of that Ari targeting. Outside of Zed turning to the right and targeting Ari at the end of the round there. But I mean, she had to ult 3-4 times to actually finish it through. And it was the auto attacks on the team mode that I think ended up solidifying that round win. But this team looks pretty strong. But if you take down Ari, it is no longer pretty strong.
yeah,
Uh,
this composition rides or dies on Ari and her cast. You do have 3 mage though, actually, so even if her first ulti kinda trolls a little bit, as we saw that last time, only hitting the Evelynn, you have a chance for redemption after, and the damage reduction that you get, 'cause you only get 8% spell power, with running mage, you're still running double Jugalit, IE, like, the damage is there either way.
it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Like but now the Ooh, my goodness, that Aatrox just set up Ari so
Yeah.
well there, and here it goes, and nothing happened. Wow. Um,
Wait,
so what happened there? I
that
don't
spell didn't crit,
yeah, I was about to say I don't think it crit at all on
even
anybody.
though you have the Jewel Gauntlet and the IEs there.
We're
That's
gonna that's gonna be a clip we go back to a little bit later because that should have
yeah,
been like a
that's
super satisfying like Ariel there. Like he did
that's
everything right, and for him to lose there is a little suspect to me. But
yeah.
of course we'll figure it out, and maybe it is.
It's an unfortunate bug there. I think, yeah, I had the suspicion. I wasn't sure if I was right, but looking at chat, yeah, if the unit dies, the spell won't crit. So while the RE spell should still go out and crit, it doesn't if she dies there. So Feels bad, man, there for Soju, but still in a good spot here in this lobby, regardless.
All right. Very, very, very interesting.
Shojin?
In terms of in terms of like dying, taking away crits. You learn something every day.
Yeah, unfortunate bug there, but happens. Yumi with a Shojin's not something you see every day.
Why
I
though?
wonder.
So, does
Yeah,
how many times does she auto attack like in a round? Maybe, maybe like 7. So
such a yeah. That's probably a pretty accurate number, honestly.
yeah,
Ooh.
because she's gonna. There's 1, 2,
Counting the Yumi autos.
3, 4. 4 auto attacks that. Oh my god, that's what's
Oh
supposed to happen.
my
All
Ari.
right, that is what is supposed to happen. You know what? And all it took was 4 auto attacks from a Yumi, carrying the team on the back of that cat. No, it's the Fox of Nine Tails in that Ari, and that's what it's supposed to look like. The crit. Ooh wee! And it's not just like the fact that everyone dies; it's those blue numbers that pop up too, that
Yeah.
just make it just so satisfying. It's like it's the equivalent of like a good back crack or like popping bubble wrap for me.
It's so satisfying, man. I was like, oh yeah, when you mentioned fox, I was like looking at the board and I was like, oh, there's a fox, a cat, and a deer, and that's all you need really if you're Soju right now. That's what the items are on. The items are invested to, and Animal Kingdom really bringing it home here for Soju. Going up to Emily though, and Emily has now sold the Kennen and is placing Double Gauntlet on the set, and that's huge damage. But look at this Ari though. Oh no.
Oh no!
Riven's
Oh,
still alive though.
oh, but the Aatrox. Okay, okay, okay. So I got a little excited for no reason there. Um, it's just whenever you see a comp like this, right? Master Yi kind of
Yeah.
is a really good example from uh last set, not in terms of carry potential, but in terms of you see the Yi get CC and you're like, is this it? Right? You see the Ari get pulled in by Aatrox, you're like, is this it? Right? And
Yep.
you get really excited because that's the only opportunity you might get of killing that Ari before that ultimate. But right now, players are playing it so well and understanding positioning and jumps with assassins and shades that they're pretty much all guaranteeing that Ari ultimate from the back line or the front line. It's really your preference and what kind of comp you're running. For this comp where it's, you run, live or die by the Ari, you are putting her in the back corner. But if she's just helping you spirit and getting you attack speed, then you might put her in the front line. But regardless, she is a good unit that will most likely get that ultimate off. So definitely plan for that. As Jax 3 online right now, Titan's Resolve on him, a
Mhm.
lot of defensive items, and he's gonna be helping out his friends along the way as well.
So Loco could level up here, but he's actually choosing to greed it out. He recognizes that he needs to get a first place this game in order to win fight night. So he's choosing to greed out this gold. The Janna 1 probably won't change the fight, but what will is more gold, right? Doubles though with this Kayn is actually jumping right onto the Callista. Oh no, that's so unfortunate.
Yeah, almost wins against the Kayn as well, and all this Kayn needs to do is live. But no, the Jax is going to be able to take. Actually, the Jax dies, and so does Locodoco, and he does not finish ahead of Sphinx. So that means Sphinx will be winning today. Let's see where Locodoco finishes, though. Is he going to finish in the top 3? He definitely opened the door for some other people to potentially jump ahead of him in the standings. But once again, we've got 4 people under 15 HP at 6-2. K3 Soju seems to be the one to beat right now. Massive lead against the rest of the board.
Yeah, let's talk about Soju playing early game really well and getting himself to the spot. He did just that, and his 43 HP is going to be probably top 2ing at least in this game. Going up against Doublezz here. Doublezz has the Kayn in such a good spot right now. One shots the Ari. If she's not able to play the game, Soju, you have no damage here. Doublezz winning this round, of course, at this point.
Look how quickly Doublezz won that too. You take the
Yeah,
Ari away, literally nothing can make up for that. That's literally the definition of putting all your eggs in one basket.
yeah.
Is what is happening there, and it's actually, I would say, at this point, it worked. As Emily does fall, Sphinx at 8, Doublezzzz 9, TreeBeard 13, and Soju at 20. Oh
They're
my
close.
goodness. This is one-on-ones. This is 2, max 3 rounds remaining in this lobby. If we do get an elimination, I do believe Sphinx and Doublezzzz will be facing off against each other on this round, though.
We'll see. It's round starting very, very soon here. Wants to dodge the Zephyr on the units here. Doublezzzz repositioning rather well there, I would
Nope,
say.
TreeBeard.
Yeah, Doublezzzz against TreeBeard. The Khroen again's in a good position here. Oh, wait,
What?
what?
The Hunter proc? I think the Hunter is that the counter? Did we did we just see the Khroen counter? Is it Hunter? Who knew? I guess you like jump into the back line, take damage, and that first proc will probably go to you. And this Ashe is with this Hodge is actually potentially, yeah, I think this Ashe is going to be able to take him down.
Yeah, it's looking like it here. It does, and Doublezz falls here in 4th.
Oh,
Soju actually,
Soju fell.
wow. He took exact damage sort of fall. He was at 43 HP 2 rounds ago and took 2 losses and died there. The Ari must have gotten just smacked for 2 rounds in a row,
Yep.
netting him to 3rd. Like, I thought Soju was for sure top 2 there. Actually, almost almost is actually, 4th place there, but wonder how that will shape up in terms of the standings there. Sphinx has a Khroen now, is going to make it into a red Khroen. Thinks
This is
this round
what
will be more, a bit more helpful there.
this is what an uncontested board looks like, friends.
Yeah.
As Sphinx it starts off as Duelist, and this if this doesn't show you that you can transition almost at any point, right, and potentially make up for it, he did probably lose about 25 to 30 HP because of the transition, but look at where he is now. The
Yeah.
investment paid off. He's in 2nd place. This is the best fight night Sphinx has ever had. He has already won, and now he just wants to put the cherry on top and take down TreeBeard and win at this lobby. Will he be able to do that? He's very, very close. It's looking very likely. It's going to be up to this Zed taking down this Ashe. Set is back as well, but Sphinx is going to be winning out this lobby. That is going to be 2 lobby wins, nothing below top 3 this entire day, as Sphinx, the most consistent player throughout all 4 lobbies, will end up winning Fight Night Rising. I'm so excited for this interview when we get it here in just a second. But Khroen, these lobbies, all of them close. There was a point on 3 lobbies where 6 people were separated by like 15 to 20 HP, and we're very, very lucky to have been a part of that today with a lobby like this.
Oh, definitely. Those were insane. As we'll take a look at the scores for the rest of our gamers here today.
Woo!
Sphinx winning by over 10 points here.
Wait,
I was thinking about what the record of Fight Night scores were, and I think Sphinx has
I think
tied.
this is it. Okay, Sleet has the record. So let me go. Let me
Yeah.
let me make sure, just
You
like
look at
real quick.
Yeah, you look at take a look at that. I'll hold down the fort here as TreeBeard does clinch 2nd place, and Locodoco actually just narrowly getting 3rd. So those are the top 3 we'll be seeing back next week. Doublezz wins out on the tiebreaker against Soju. So Doublezz earning a bit of that prize money though. Soju in 5th place there had a pretty good game 1 and 4, but Soju in tournaments, unfortunately, not going to be the hot Rayditz, and then Emily Wang and SpencerZ at the bottom there.
Yeah, we actually don't get a lot of first-time players in the top 3, so you gotta give props to Locodoco in
Especially in a lobby
that
like this.
sense. And so it is. Oh, by the way, Sleet's record is 36 points, so we're
Oh,
1
is it?
point
Okay.
away.
Yeah.
2 firsts and 2 seconds for Sleet TFT. That was
Yeah.
actually his first week too, so maybe I take it back. But Sphinx, good job, man. That is the pinnacle of growth in my opinion. And we had so many really cool lobbies. We had a couple different comps win. It's nice to see, the comp like Elderwood that everyone's like Elderwood, right? Not do well at all today throughout all four lobbies. Really, outside of TreeBeard's Ashe at the end.
Definitely. I think we're gonna have an interview with Sphinx. Sphinx, how are you doing, my
Hey,
friend?
man.
I don't know. I just played Zed and won.
I saw you in chat earlier talking to the Mork God. It's like, will you please give me another Zed shake?
Yeah, like usually I'm actually like a flexible player, but I don't know. I just got Zed 3 times, so I just played it.
So
yeah.
I think you might actually have one of the biggest leads at the end of a fight night that I think I have ever seen. Yeah, in terms of point differential, I
Nice.
think you might be number 1. 35 points. 2nd place was 24 with TreeBeard. Like it is. uncouth to like say, how do you feel about this? But Sphinx, I know you've been going through this for such a long time. I've been tracking your career ever since literally the beginning, and it's so
Yeah,
cool to
no.
finally be talking to you here on this like
Finally.
winner's interview, because you always get second or third, right?
Yeah.
And we're finally here. How does it feel to finally like
It
crest the
feels
hill,
it feels
right?
really good. I feel like I like high rolled though, but it still feels good. Yeah.
Grunt?
It's like nice because I was like in a little slump, so it's nice
Yeah.
to like win something.
Yeah, not only win, but win in such a dominant fashion there, Sphinx. I mean, what, 2 firsts, a second, and a third? Like, again, the point differential between first and second was so insane. I wanna ask a bit of a question about game number 4 there, though. It looked
Yeah.
like, you were 6 points ahead of Loco going into that game. You're looking like you might commit to some Duelist there for a little bit. Was that on your mind, going Duelist, or were you always planning on putting out there? Or yeah, what was the thought process there?
If I hit a Yasuo duelist or like Jax, I'd play it just to contest him, I guess, because he played duelist a lot.
Yeah.
So since like obviously he's like right behind me, it's not a bad idea to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, Boop and I were talking a bit about that, the pros and cons of contesting there, and I was like, "Oh, man," Boop's like, "Yeah, no, look for it."
Then I
And I'm like,
hit
"Wow,
dead.
it's pretty risky." Yeah, then you hit the Zen in the perhaps,
Yeah, then you hit that
I just threw whatever
chosen
items
step.
on him, and then he just wins.
I told Khroen, I was like, if you're Loco in this situation, I'm Sphinx, I'm taking all your units, buddy.
Yeah.
Because that's what I like to troll as much as possible. But Sphinx, something I think you've been actually pretty open about is how your mental has affected your play in the past. You said you were actually struggling a little bit coming into today. So what's been the process of trying to help yourself through some of these like lower times? Because I feel like in TFT you can slump like pretty hard, right? And it can feel like you can't come out of this hole. So what do you do to kind of recover from something and then end up winning a fight night?
I don't know. Like honestly, for this specific one, I didn't really think about it too much. I kind of just came in and just I don't know. It's like I didn't think about it too much. I didn't like prep too much. I just kind of like I'll just play how I like normally do, which is I don't know, just like flexibly,
Yeah.
and
I
it
used
worked out.
to Yeah, I used to teach piano. I used to tell the kids to not play that much before a performance so they can
But then
go
I hit
into
three
it.
Zeds, so it's not really that flexible. So, I
Well,
don't know.
you hit your tier 3 Zeds and Evelyn super quick.
I
So,
know.
and they were uncontested almost the whole
So
time.
high roll, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, it still takes skill, man. I don't know why you do that. You always take yourself out of that, and I think you're a very talented player. For you to be around as long as this
Oh,
is, it's not just luck. So take some pride
thanks.
in what you just did. I actually just got mad at you just then. Khroen, take it away.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Boop definitely has a good point there. I mean, there's a difference between, like, having options presented to you and then being able to capitalize on them, and sometimes it's easier than other times to recognize what you should do there, but still piloting it very well and taking this lobby so dominantly out of so many good players. Like, this lobby,
Yeah.
we say it like every
I'm
week.
so happy about this.
Yeah, it's such a stacked lobby and able to take the win. Just, I mean, congratulations, Sphinx, getting that victory. Be seeing you
Thanks
here
so much.
next week.
Yep.
Passing on back to because I don't really have much else. Just huge here today.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, please share your social media and stuff so everyone watching can keep track of what you're doing, and see you next week here on Fight Night.
Yeah.
What is it? What are your socials?
Oh, you're asking me. Yeah. So my Twitch is Sphinxy09, and my Twitter is Sphinxy with the 1, and then I don't know, SPH1 and XZY, I think. So yeah, that's
Mhm.
my stuff.
All right, cool. Well, we'll make sure that I think all of their streams are listed. I believe Armad is actually helping you guys figure out how to access those. But Sphinx, man, I'm so glad that you're here. It means a lot to me to be telling you congratulations. We'll see you
Thanks,
next
Boop.
week.
I appreciate it, man. And
Of
thanks
course.
for
See you
fun.
later.
Thank you. And that will do it for us tonight on Fight Night Rising. Man, I love seeing such dominant performance like that. And he comes in here though, he's like, "Oh yeah, I just high rolled," like takes credit away from himself, but
I
as
know.
you were
I'm
saying, it's like,
bad.
"Nah, he played well.
I
He played
just
really well."
I
It's
just
nice
beat the
to
lobby by 11 points, and I'm bad. It's like, come on, man. I
yeah.
will be DMing him right after this. But no, it's really good stuff. It is the end for us today, and I have to say, out of all the fight nights I think we've ever casted, today was pretty special in terms of how close it was, the comps we
Yeah,
saw, who was here, right? Like this is
definitely.
if you need an example of where TFT is going, this is it, and I love it.
Definitely. I couldn't have said it better myself, Boop. Thank you very much for being a wonderful co-caster. That will do it for us. We'll be signing off until next week here on Fight Night Rising. We'll see you then.